What up YouTube, it's your boy Bobby G, back with another reaction video. And today we got a pretty lengthy one, so pause. Today we're gonna react to the Club Shay Shay podcast. He did one with Johnny Manziel. I'm not exactly sure if we're gonna sit here and watch the full 2-hour video, but you know, we'll just see if it's good, then we'll watch the whole thing, and if we get kind of bored, then we'll just, you know, scratch this. But before we head into this, don't forget to leave your boy a like on the video, subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, follow me on Kick, say what up to the stream because we live right now. And yeah, so let's get straight into this video. Club Shay Shay with Johnny Manziel, draft day, Johnny Manziel. Let's see what they got.
There are people saying Johnny Manziel will be bigger than LeBron James in Cleveland.
I think that person is Skip Bayless.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price.
Bro, did Skip Bayless really say that?
Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life.
So Laportier, that's Club Shay Shay's, that's Unc's cognac, huh?
Hello, welcome to another episode of Club Shay Shay. I am your host, Shannon Sharp. I'm also the proprietor of Club Shay Shay, and the guy that's stopping by for conversation today is one of the most polarizing college athletes ever, one of the best college football players ever, member of the Texas A&M Hall of Fame. He's the first freshman to ever win the Heisman Trophy, a rock star quarterback, a larger-than-life persona, a phenomenon. He was must-see TV every Saturday. Former NFL quarterback.
Bro, what in the glaze is fucking going on right now? Shay Shay. Bro, we all know who this is, bruh. Get off of your knees, my guy.
Texas legend, and the stadium in which he played in college has been called the house that Johnny built. Johnny Manziel.
What's up, baby?
Bro, how you doing?
Nah, Johnny Manziel was that fucking dude, bro. I don't care. It's much needed glaze. Because Johnny Manziel was that dude.
Thank you for having me.
Long time coming, man.
Thank you, bro. I don't want to toast. I know you don't drink anymore. You don't drink anymore, right? No,
right now I'm in the way. Don't want to toast with water, but nevertheless,
nah,
all you,
bro.
baby.
Appreciate
I appreciate the offer.
I appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, long time coming, you know?
Long time coming.
Fuck with the Travis Scotts.
Get in on the action. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Bigger.
Right.
And
The Travis Scotts he got on.
it's only growing.
Probably the best colorway.
Right. But there is something in the water. There's a bunch of dogs, not just at the quarterback position, but all the way throughout. I mean, you look at Myles Garrett, our defensive player of the year, we were talking about, like, there's some real cats that come from Houston, they come from Dallas, they come from San Antonio, and they come from Austin.
Right.
And it's just a great state for football. I mean, in my opinion, if you look at
this Amiri jacket right here is tough too.
it countrywide, you got Cali, you got Texas, and you have Florida, where the dogs come from, in my opinion.
Do you remember watching those guys playing high school football when you were growing up? And did any of those guys you try to emulate?
Yeah, I think RG3 did an amazing job for me, and, like, you know, setting a great example of what a dual threat quarterback should be. I mean, I won the Heisman in 2012.
Right.
He won it in 2011. So I got to watch that crazy year of a high flying, throw it around the yard kind of offense, and a guy that could run. That track speed, everything that he had, complete package for what, you know, in my opinion, a college dual threat quarterback should be.
Did you ever see any of those guys play high school football? Or just watched them on when the highlights came on television?
I would say I watched Kyler's career probably the closest.
Okay.
I had a huge hand in getting him to Texas A&M.
Right.
2012 and 13, whenever I was at A&M, I saw this kid, and I'd known his dad, obviously a legendary quarterback at Texas A&M in his own right. But Kyler, you know, I saw this kid who
shout out Kyler Murray, shout out AZ.
Was
that's my QB.
Trained and, like, molded to be exactly where he's at today in his life. And I think that's what his dad did for him to, you know, get him to a place of high level success. And if you know anything about Texas high school football, I would say his resume and what he did makes him hands down the best Texas high school football player to ever play.
Player, not just quarterback, player.
Ever in the state of Texas. Wow.
That is crazy. That is crazy props. Considering the amount of talent that's come through Texas, bro, for football.
Wow. I think he lost. I don't know if he lost the game.
One game.
Maybe one.
Right.
And that would have to be checked. But like one. And what this kid did, made circles from not just Dallas, not just Houston, not just Austin.
Right.
From the top of the tip to the bottom and from east to west.
Right. Well, what happened? Why wasn't Texas A&M able to keep him?
I'm about to cash this check for $50,000.
That's a good question, huh? That's a good question.
You know, I have my opinion on this, and one that I think is very correct in the fact that that same time we signed 2 5-star quarterbacks. So we had Kyler Murray and Kyle Allen in that same class.
Right.
After I left, the direction of the program, I felt, lost a lot of its stability. You know, we had really good coaches in our organization, but we didn't hone in and detail and work and focus on one guy who was going to be our guy.
Right.
They played this game of back and forth and not like
settling on the guy.
Kyler Murray.
Right.
What are we talking about? Lost one game his whole career? You're not going to go give this guy the keys? I don't care what he's doing. College is a time as a freshman that you mold men.
Right.
You mold these guys into what you want them to be. When I went to college, my dad shook Mike Sherman, shook his hand and looked him in the eye and said, this is where you take over and molding my son into being the grown-up that he needs to be one day. And I think with that, Coach Sumlin lost a little bit of what he was originally there to do.
Right.
You get a new contract, you go to the SEC, you win 12 games, you get a Heisman winner, you're talking about new stadium, you're talking about new deal. Your focus shifts from what the main thing is to a whole bunch of bullshit,
right,
in my opinion. And they didn't just hone in, and they didn't give him the keys. And I think a lot of that's to be said has to deal with Kyle Allen as well.
Right.
I think he made it very difficult behind the scenes for what people didn't know to just give Kyler the keys. And, you know, in my opinion, where our program is now as a football program, that is the one step and one thing and mistake that we made that is keeping us from being where we want to be, and especially during that time, why we didn't have success.
Because Kyler was supposed to be you. He was supposed to be that transition because of what you started in SEC, and we'll talk about that Saturday afternoon in Tuscaloosa and what you actually did down there. So that was supposed to be the next step. Okay, Johnny built this. He has it going. Guess what? We have somebody to step right in and keep it going.
Boom, right there in front of your face. I worked my ass off behind the scenes to get Kyler Murray to Texas A&M. Loved him. Loved what he stood for, loved who he was as a kid, loved that he looked up to me at that point in time. You know, how times have changed since then, but at that point in time, the look I got in his eyes when I hosted him around and took care of him was that he looked up to me as something he wanted to be like me.
Right.
And I could see that in his eyes as a kid. I have very mixed emotions and strong feelings about that with what happened through it. Like I said, it comes back to, I think Kyle did a really good job of playing good football. He was a very capable quarterback. You know, he's still, you know, behind Josh Allen a little bit right now. And
boy, Texas A&M fucking fumbled that bag, bro. That's tough. Texas A&M fumbled the fuck out of this.
Working with him and has been right next to him for a long time. So that says something.
Left to Oklahoma. Y'all seen what happened?
About his character, who he was as a football player, albeit not all the accolades and everything you would expect, but a very solid, you know, fundamental football player.
But when you watch Kyler transfer and then you see what he did for the University of Oklahoma, taking him, I think he took him to the college football playoff both years. He wins the Heisman Trophy. And
ouch.
And you're saying, hold on, we let that guy walk out the door? Hold on. And then I think he'd have been successful in the offense, obviously with the head coach they had at Oklahoma, I think at USC now, Lincoln Riley, and I think Cliff was it, Lincoln Riley. And you say like, well, I don't really care what system it is. You see how Kyler, what he can do? He can throw the ball, he can run. He's a true definition of a dual threat quarterback. No matter how small he is, I think a lot of people like kind of discounted him. Maybe Texas A&M didn't realize what they had because they're like, okay, you walk out the door, you only 5, whatever it is, you're not gonna be. and he catch fire.
Did they not just learn it with me?
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what it never made sense to me. Is like, y'all had built this playoff foundation around a 5'10" quarterback in Johnny Manziel, 5'11" quarterback. Bro, why would you let, like, bro, for all intents and purposes, Kyler is like the black version of Johnny Manziel, just faster. So why would you let him walk if y'all just had a great run with Johnny Manziel? Like,
Did they not watch the 5'11" guy come and rock the world and put it on fire?
Right.
They believed in me.
Right.
And that came from Cliff Kingsbury.
Right.
That's where I got mine from.
Right.
That's where I got my confidence. That's where I got my guy who believed in me. Jake Spavital was our offensive coordinator when Kyler was there. And as I was in Cleveland, I was talking to him quite a bit, figuring out what the vibe was. You know, I went back to games. You know, I went and wanted to see Kyler, and the mesh and the feel just like wasn't there for cohesiveness. And, you know, I remember talking to Jake about it and him just kind of being like, I remember him saying this, that it's like kind of out of my hands. That it was like above the offensive coordinator's pay grade, which only leaves one person left.
The head coach.
That's all it leaves.
Right.
So whether it was, you know, I'm speculating, but at the end of the day, that's what I was told of what it was.
What was your relationship like with Kevin Sumlin?
My relationship with Kevin Sumlin was great. You know, he was my dog. You know, he rode for me hard. He went to bat for me. He went to war for me in a multitude of different scenarios. You know, I think where our relationship fell out a little bit is, you know, how do you have a guy who's a grown man who, I look back on this now, reflective in this. You know, how do you have a guy who's a grown man, you know, telling me what I should do? Obviously, my coach, my guy I'm looking up to, my head football coach, is telling me to live a certain way and put all this party and this behind you. But if you know anything about Kevin Sumlin, it's what he's doing behind the scenes.
Oh, he partying too?
So from my eyes,
so you say,
it's hypocritical.
We partying together.
We're a 40-40 club in New York.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We in the back room playing pool with ace of spades. We're chilling.
Right.
Coach is there. This is what he does. So now looking back at it, it's hypocritical.
so Coach was there with him the whole time, partying with Drake and shit, partying with OBJ.
Cool to me. And our relationship is great and will forever be great. And no, I do not sit here today as a judge of a man, a judge of a person who helped get me to the point of where I wanted to be in life. By no means whatsoever. I'm calling a spade a spade.
Right.
And I'm just going to be and give the God's honest truth as what I know it to be.
Right.
That ruffles some feathers, so be it.
Right.
It's the way the world goes.
Are you surprised that he hasn't got a head coaching job?
No.
You're not surprised?
Mm-mm.
I think I'm losing my mind. I need to understand what.
Why?
I think what made Coach Sumlin so great is no longer really with him right now, where his focus is. You know, I think life has gotten the better of him a little bit. And I'm a prime example of, I don't want to sit up here and be a preacher, you know? I don't want to sit up here and tell anybody they're living wrong or anything like that, because that's what it used to feel like me back in the day
when they were
people
trying
were
to
doing that
Johnny.
to me. So I don't see the same spark. You know, I don't have much of a relationship anymore with him anymore. We'll reach out and talk like here and there, maybe once a year, but not like I have the relationship with my other coaches. And, you know, my gut instinct and feel is, and I know this because of instances that happened when I left. All right, I'm leaving to go to the draft. And I'll paint a picture for you. It's 2000, the spring of 2014, December 2013, right in there about December, January, I'm getting ready to make this decision on if I'm going to the NFL draft or I'm going to stay. And I found this out 5 years later from my dad. But my dad went and had a meeting with Kevin Sumlin and pretty much went to him man to man and was like, we'll take $3 million and we'll stay for the next 2 years. And my dad says this is true as today as he did when he told me. He laughed. He did the same thing that he did when Cliff Kingsbury asked him to be the highest paid offensive coordinator the year before. And Cliff would have stayed with me another year and we would have ran it back and gone for another one.
Right.
But he comes to someone, he asks him for X amount, someone, he had this ego about him that what we built,
Bro, it is insane to see that people have these crazy egos even after seeing so much success. Like with, the people around them, the supporting cast. This motherfucker Sumlin is just, he low-key tore this whole thing apart.
was all him.
Right.
And then you start that next year, okay? I leave, decide to go to the NFL. This deal doesn't work. Kevin Sumlin kind of blows us off. We can do this without you type of vibe, okay? So the fall comes around, 2014 A&M football season. Kenny Hill is named our starting quarterback. We win our first 5 games of the year. We're 5-0. We're top 10 in the country. I ain't getting no love in the program.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, I remember hearing it, and they talk about Johnny who? Because he had, I think he
South
had
Carolina, 5 touchdowns, first game of the season.
Okay. So you remember hearing it also. So hold on, I want to make sure, I got to backtrack.
Yeah, back it up.
You said your dad went to Kevin Sumlin.
Yep.
And says for $3 million.
We're staying for 2 more.
Now, you do realize this is prior to NIL.
I agree.
This is a backroom deal.
Oh, yeah.
Went on for 30.
For sure. Oh, for sure. This shit is underground, under the tunnel. Keep it locked. Keep it zip. Oh, yeah.
40 years before. It was the same way that was happening when you was getting recruited back in the day.
And you guys, y'all, Texas A&M got money Texas A&M, nobody got no money like Texas A&M. Y'all got the big dogs.
Aggie ring, baby.
Y'all got the big dogs. And so $3 million, if he had gone to any of the boosters and said, you know what?
Done.
Johnny Dad said he'll stay for an additional 2 years if we just break him off $3 million.
Just keep it, cash, throw it somewhere. We'll get it later. We don't need it right now.
Right.
But for my security, if something happens for 2 years down the road,
right.
And my dad did this without me knowing, and I ain't mad at him about it for nothing. It's the way the business worked back then.
Right.
There was a bag man.
What do y'all feel about parents doing stuff like this to their kids? I kind of feel like in a way his dad needs to make sure that Johnny's in the loop. You know what I'm saying? Because like that's his future too. Not everybody wants to stay in college for a certain amount of years. Maybe he wants to declare for the draft because he doesn't want to get hurt. I don't know.
Man at LSU. There was a bag man at Bama. There was a bag man at every school around the country if you were competing for a national title. It is what it was. And it was always that way until we're into the NIL portion of everything now, the way it should be.
If I ask you, I say, Johnny, who's your Mount Rushmore high school quarterbacks in the state of Texas? What 4 heads you putting up there?
Kyler Murray is for sure. Andrew Luck was really, really, really good.
Okay.
Who else, man? Who else? RG3 is up there for sure. You can't leave RG3 off that list.
You got Pat Mahomes, Drew Brees, Stafford.
And then, oh man, tough.
DY, you got Vince Young.
Tough. Oh, you can't
Baker,
label it to
Jalen.
4. You can't label it to 4.
Baker, Jalen, Vince Young, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray. Holy shit, bro. That is tough. Andrew Luck.
Played against Baker, so I didn't get to see him start at quarterback, but we played Lake Travis, his high school. I mean, this is an impossible list. It probably takes 5. The best that I got to be around, Andrew Luck was a little bit before me. Mm-hmm. So from what I saw and I remember, Kyler, top notch. I didn't get the Breeze days. Stafford, for the legacy he left at Highland Park and what you would hear about, and nobody had an arm.
Stafford, bro, this is okay, yeah, Texas is definitely the state of quarterbacks for sure.
In the state of Texas like him ever. So Kyler, Stafford, for sure. I think you have to throw RG3 in there for winning a Heisman. I think you have to throw Baker in there for winning the Heisman. So you got 3 Heisman Trophy winners.
Yep.
And Stafford.
Yep.
Pretty good.
And your GOAT is Kyler.
To me, and he's younger than me.
Wow. So let me ask you this, Johnny. Your upbringing, what was your upbringing like, and what type of kid was Johnny Manziel?
Johnny Manziel was a really good kid. Up until the time I probably got my driver's license, 14, 15. I grew up in Tyler, Texas, small East Texas town about an hour and a half outside of Dallas.
Why does bro got lumps on his forehead?
My family came over from Lebanon and went straight to East Texas.
Okay.
So I was like the 4th generation of people that have been here in the States. I was a baseball player. I wanted to be Derek Jeter. I wore number 2 because of Jeter. I loved the Yankees at that point in time in my life. And my life was, you know, until I was 13, 14 years old, it was baseball tonight, every night, Sports Center with the OGs back in the day. And I sat and I watched every day, every baseball. I loved it. And from the time I was like 8 years old on until the time I was like 14, 15, I traveled and played baseball. I got in the car with my mom. My dad worked at a car dealership, so 6 days a week he was grinding, trying to, you know, make life easy on us. And I felt very blessed that I did have the ability to have an easy life. You know, I think I put out this persona at the time later that we were well off and wealthy and this. And I think that was just, at the time, something to say, and maybe what I even truly believed at that point in time. But to get back to what I was saying, I was a baseball player. And travel, me and my mom, my sister hop in the car and we're going to Louisiana. We're driving all over Texas. We're going everywhere to go play traveling select baseball as a kid. I was playing a year up from my age group, so I'm in the deep end and I'm holding my own. And like always thought, even to this day, that baseball was my best sport, that I was always meant and destined to be a baseball player. And I think because I started so early, by the time I got to high school, I was just burned out
of it.
Football started to come in my life. Really, what I vividly remember is the 2005 Rose Bowl.
Okay.
And for Christmas Day, I wake up and my dad has this number 10 Vince Young Texas jersey. I was a Texas Longhorn freak.
Right.
And I'm gonna sit here and get a lot of hell from my Aggies, but like, it is what it is. And I remember this Christmas Day, might go to the tree, see this Vince Young jersey with the Rose Bowl patch on it. And after that, it was really just like all football from that game, that last drive, that cross into the end zone by Vince. The confetti was the background on my computer for 4 years with Vince. Rose Bowl was the biggest to me.
When you say you were a good kid by 90% of America or good kid just for Johnny Manziel?
Good kid by 100% of 90% of America. I was raised the proper way. You know, I was raised in a strong, sturdy household. Both mom and dad there, and younger sister, 3 years younger than me. You know, we were religious. You know, we were a Christian family. We went to church on Sundays. Sundays were our day for, you know, our family golf outings where my dad and my sister would play me and my mom, and we would go play a scramble every Sunday. We were very family oriented. You know, my time I spent with my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, we were a cohesive unit, especially back then. And I think, you know, it's hard because you look back at what you know me now and you wouldn't expect that, which is why you asked the question that you did, because I didn't prove to the world when I got on a world stage what my morals and values and how I raised truly was. And I think a lot of that shift started to happen as I was 15, 16 years old. And
join your sons for El Valle Night, presented by Fanatics, to celebrate the city's Chicano culture. Don't miss.
I was living and originally grew up in Tyler, okay?
Earl Campbell to Tyler.
2 Heisman Trophy winners in the same town, the Tyler Rose, baby. And when I was about 13, I'm in between my sixth grade semesters. So it's like January of my 6th grade year. My dad comes in, he's like, we're moving. Doesn't say a word, just packs everything up, and we drive 5.5 hours away to Kerrville, Texas. And Kerrville, Texas is 40 miles west of San Antonio, out in the middle of the hill country, beautiful, but it's very country. You know, it's very little backwoods kind of place, 20,000 people, and it's dually trucks and farms and ranches and everything you would expect a Texas town to be. And when I went there, life shifted. It was like the old Johnny Manziel was there before that move, and then there was a completely new person born after that. And I think that comes from like when I got there and I first got to class at this new school, I was nervous. You know, I didn't have any of my friends. I didn't know anything. It was the first time in my life I think I was really, really uncomfortable in the situation that I was in. And I created and took over a little bit of a different persona, in the sense of like kind of where I get a little bit more of my attitude, a little bit more of this country place where I felt like I had to, I had to stick up for myself. Not even flex, I just stick up for myself. I'm a new kid on the block here. I ain't getting bullied around by nobody out here.
Right.
My dad taught me the right way, that if somebody wrongs you, in a sense, right, you can either try and handle it the right way as a man, or if somebody takes it too far down the line, I give you full permission to do what you need to do to protect yourself. And I felt like I was getting bullied around and punked around a little bit, and I started to stand my ground. And with that became a new like growth as a 15-year-old, 14-year-old kid in life. And I remember that shift like it was yesterday.
You said your dad all of a sudden packed the family up and left. How unexpected was it? Was there any talk? Do you remember he and your mom having a conversation about, this is not working. I think we might need to move. I think there's a better opportunity over here. Was there ever any conversation that there's a possibility that your family might leave Tyler and head to where you ended up going?
None. Came in one day and just, that was it. We got in the car, we went, and that was it. Never heard a conversation, never heard a talk, never really got a reason, nothing. We were just doing it. And as I know now, my dad took a better job in a different industry to be able to go do that and do something.
Kind of fucked. I mean, at least give him some type of, like, yo, we gotta go because of this. But bro just up and left. Took the fam and up and left.
Something that gave him more time to be a father.
Okay.
The card business for him was a 6 day a week, 6 in the morning until 8 p.m. grind. Like, I got to see my dad at dinner at night, and then on the Sundays that we spoke about. So, I get 2 hours with him at night during the week, and then we get that Sunday family time that we get, and hopefully baseball doesn't overlap. So it was very much a family decision to be able to spend more time together and get a fresh start. My family and Tyler had a reputation about them, as being wild and being this party family, and kind of, the rumor, I guess, around East Texas was that, it was a little bit mafioso kind of vibe to it a little bit, is what I hear and what I was hearing as a kid.
Right.
That's what I would hear when I was in elementary school. Oh, you're a Manziel. Like, it was always that kind of like, we're judging you before we even know who you are. So I think a lot of that had to do with my dad tired of hearing all the chirp about our last name.
When did you, or if ever, when you were growing up, have an appreciation for what your dad was doing? You mentioned that he worked 6 days a week, that he left at 6 a.m. in the morning, and he came home at 8 p.m. and you guys had dinner. So you basically got the dinner time, that was it, and then you got Sunday golf outing. Did you ever become resentful that you weren't spending the quality time with your dad and that he wasn't driving you around to all these baseball games?
I wouldn't say it was resentment. I would say there was full-blown anger at that point in time back in the day, like to the max. Like, I'm watching other kids have their parents be there and stuff, and it's a natural inclination to be able to be like, yo, what's wrong with me? Why is my mom is...
There's like literally nothing more that sucks than this type of stuff, bro. Like, this is so relatable on so many levels. I grew up with grandparents, bro. If anybody else really knows how it is growing up with grandparents, it's not the same as growing up with your real parents. As much as you want to call it, you can call it cool or whatever, it's not the same as living with your real parents, bro. I promise. Going to like parent teacher conferences, festivals, other parties, you know what I'm saying, like seeing other friends with their parents. It's just kind of awkward when you have like older folks. Like growing up as a kid and then like having to deal with that year after year growing up, this shit gets weird, bruh, and it gets annoying. But
it's a rock.
So like I definitely feel what Johnny Manziel is talking about.
Right.
Like, my mom was it. She never blinked. She never... solid woman. And now that I look back at it, I realize what my dad was doing. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of energy to be able to provide for a family, especially when you get away from the nest egg and the grandparents and everything and you go do it on your own. So, for a long time, and this is where me and my dad around this time just started butting heads. And then this is where the sneaking and the drinking, and this is where it all kind of like starts to unravel a little bit. And this is kind of at this point in time, 15, 16 years old, where I start to go down a path that you later see on a national scale.
Do you believe, had your father been around more frequently, that the Johnny Manziel that started happening around 15, 16 and would later cost you a lot of what you had worked so hard for, had he been around, do you believe this would have happened?
No. I believe that life goes exactly the way that it's supposed to go. So if he was around, it's a big if, right? And it's a hypothetical type of situation. Hard for me to answer. But I know now, all of the bad parts of me make me exactly who I am, right? All the failure that I've had in life, failure. What I really fail on? I lived my dream by the time I was 22 years old. Okay. That dream that I had when I'm sitting in that classroom in Kerrville, Texas, I accomplished at 22. Mm-hmm. Now, my dreams never were to go be in the position that you were in with a Hall of Fame jacket and to be the best NFL player ever. I very much felt like when I got drafted and I got a chance to start in an NFL game, like my dreams were completely accomplished almost.
Wow.
And that's just the way I truly feel, you know? So my life, the good, the bad, and everything in between, it went exactly the way that it was supposed to go to be sitting here with you today. And I learned more through the failures than I ever did through the rise, ever.
That's a wise statement. It's a very wise statement. Because he's been through some shit for real. Not everybody has to aspire to be the absolute greatest. You know what I'm saying? When shit happens, just be happy that you made it. It's W for Johnny Manziel.
You growing up, you say because you had played baseball, started baseball at such an early age, by the time you got to about 14, 15, you had completely burnt out on the game of baseball. So now you transitioned to football.
Hold on, it's only a kick.
Was your size ever a problem? Did a coach ever tell you, say, Johnny, you're just too small, son?
Of course. I think that's a big reason why I didn't go to the University of Texas. They wouldn't pull the trigger on me and my size at any position. They wanted me to play safety. Like safety. Me. We ain't got a lot of white safeties out there, Shannon.
Wow, Texas fumbled that bag. Texas fumbled the biggest safety. That's disrespect, bro. That's disrespect.
No.
Not even on the offense.
No, they don't. So what I'm thinking, like, hold on. If he's too small to play, if he's 5'11", how much you weigh coming out of high school?
Probably 173 pounds, okay. 175.
But they didn't think you could play quarterback because of that size, but they felt you'd be perfect for safety.
They saw athletic ability.
Okay.
They saw a special athletic talent, and they didn't know what it was. And to be honest, until I met George Whitfield and went and started training with him, I didn't believe in myself that I was a quarterback.
Okay. You were an athlete.
I was just wanting to play football.
Right.
I would play receiver. I played running back in high school. I played anything that I could play to get on the field and be with my dogs.
I'm looking at you in your high school career. You passed for over 7,600 yards. You had 76 total touchdowns in high school, parade All-America, Mr. Texas football. If you're the Mr. Football in the state of, there are certain states. Now, and this is not a knock, but if you're Mr. Football in North Dakota, it don't hold the same weight as Mr. Football in Florida, Georgia, Texas, California.
If you're from North Dakota, baby.
Yeah, maybe if you're from North Dakota, you're absolutely right. But being Mr. Football in the state of Texas, that means no matter what your size is, Johnny, everybody should have been beating down your door and not looking at you and say, well, he's only 5'11", 173.
If the world was perfect, maybe it would have went that way. But we both know that it's not, and that people oversee greatness all the time.
Right.
We do, not necessarily you, but in a media type, people overlook greatness all the time. People are still knocking down Brock Purdy's door right now, and all the haters are coming through. For what? Mr. Irrelevant to a Super Bowl? I mean, it's about identifying greatness in somebody in their soul and in their heart. It's more than just what you can do with your hands and with your arms and with your legs.
Right. I'm looking at the schools: Oregon, Rice, Stanford, Iowa State, Baylor, CSU, Colorado State, Louisiana Tech, Tulsa, Wyoming, and Texas A&M. And it says, I read that you said that you decommitted from Oregon because they had Marcus Mariota and you didn't feel confident enough in yourself that you could beat him out or you get an opportunity to play?
I didn't go to Oregon, not anything that had to do with Marcus.
They had some really nice unis.
Hey, that was the reason I wanted to go. 2011, I think, was 2010. Cam Newton, Auburn year.
Okay, let's be real. Johnny Manziel on an Oregon team back then, they might go for a three-peat. They might three-peat. That team is unstoppable.
They played LaMichael James and the Ducks in the Fiesta Bowl for the national championship. Those jerseys coming out, I'm committed. Woo, like crazy. And when I went there, they made my family. So when I get into contact with Oregon and Chip Kelly, they didn't give us, the roll out the red carpet treatment to go visit. They're like, you want to come up here on your dime and come to this camp, we'll let you come in and we'll evaluate you. Okay. And as I get there, meeting with Chip Kelly and doing the whole deal that you do on a recruiting trip, I get to we get to the football portion of it where we're going out on the field. Mm-hmm. And I jog out to where I'm supposed to go, and there's this kid sitting there, 6'4", Hawaiian kid, and he's in line. I go, yo, what's up, bro? You playing receiver today? And he looks at me and he goes, no, I'm playing quarterback. And I remember in my head at that time, I'm like, I'm so fucked. I'm toast. This kid. So there was that initial reaction. Right. And then as we go through the drills, it's just like boom, 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 boom. 2 Heisman Trophy winners before it ever happens. Just so good that when we got off the field that day, we both got offered at the same time, at the same day. And I committed on the spot. There wasn't no doubt that that's what I wanted to do. It had nothing to do. They could have had 5, 6 quarterbacks in that class. And they told us they were going to take 3 because they needed depth.
Right.
So I knew that going into it, and I committed anyway.
Oh, so now what about you said you wanted to go to Texas, but they didn't feel you was big enough to play the position. So was it UT, A&M, were those the only Texas schools that you were like considering?
Frogs, TCU.
TCU, okay.
I loved them. Okay. Took a visit there and had a buddy from high school that was going to school there, and I went there. I was like, damn, there's a lot of girls up here.
And they party too, Johnny.
And
they party. They party TCU almost every year. #1 party school in it.
Go Frogs. I mean, damn, man, it was crazy. When I was in high school, I was like, this place is heaven on earth. It's right. Nice. It's clean.
Damn, TCU's a party school like that? I would have never guessed that.
Girls, the football program. They're in a...
Damn, Johnny, you don't mention nice and clean and talk about girls and you ain't got the football yet.
At that point in time, I wasn't thinking about football, Shannon. I'm trying to go have a good time in college.
Okay.
I wanted to be like this mix of like Entourage on HBO and like Blue Mountain State and all these things I was watching at the time and what I was ingrained in.
Bro, shout out Blue Mountain State, bro. If you know, you know. If you haven't watched it, look it up. Blue Mountain State. It's a legendary football series.
And was just like, I'm a party boy.
Right.
I just happened to be good at football a little bit at that time. You know, my grind and focus and determination of the game didn't come in until I got into trouble before my Heisman year at A&M,
right.
June of 2012. It all kind of came to a halt when I got arrested. And I got arrested for going out to Northgate and College Station and drinking too much and blacking out and waking up in handcuffs. And when that instance happened, it was this meeting with Coach Sumlin and my mom and my dad. And it was like, you either figure this out today or over the next couple weeks, or your ass is out of here. You're gone. And then everything you work for, your scholarship, everything, you figure it out now. As my family sits there in the room and someone's looking at him just like we're looking at each other right now, he's like, you guys figure it out. And when that happened, my family moved to College Station. Wow. And they moved in my backyard. And I pretty much moved back in with my mom and my dad. And that was the moment that was like, all right, you hear what's going on. You're smart enough to comprehend this. You may be fucking around with your boys and doing what you think you want to do, But the opportunity that's in front of you, you are spoiling, and you need to get it together. And that's when George Whitfield came into my life. And I went, my mom sent me to San Diego with all the money they probably had saved up for their little saving stuff and sent me out there to work with this guy, and they trusted him. And when I came back, I left before that trip and getting arrested 4th on the depth chart, below the freshmen who came in, below the 2 other guys that were above me in the class. And in 11 days, when I got back and we started training camp, I was named the starter and handed the keys to the Texas A&M University football team. That's how much of a difference my focus and my passion and my energy being put into something turned out to be.
If that situation, you drinking to the point of blacking out, do you remember anything about that night other than going to the bar with your homies?
I was taking Xanax back then, and it was a very
Bro was off the Xannies. Bro was off the Xanakins.
Weird time in my life where I was dealing with anxiety and all these things and emotions that were going on that I didn't have any, business being able to handle on my own. But from that country kid, proud and tough and all these things that I prided myself on, I wasn't asking for help.
Right.
Shit, Shannon, I didn't ask for help when I was sitting in Cleveland.
Wow.
So why am I going to do it when I'm in college?
Right.
So I was a lost kid trying to figure out after my first year at A&M when I redshirted, at the end of that year, I said, fuck this. I'm done playing football. I was finding out how to transfer to TCU to play baseball. That's how bad it was after my redshirt year. 6-6, we're in the Big 12. I'm going to Ames, Iowa, and all these, that ain't the stadium that I wanted to be playing in.
Right.
And it's no disrespect to them whatsoever. The Big 12 is not the SEC.
Right.
And you see it now. Only 2 of them schools in the Big 12 got into the SEC. 4 if you add Missouri and A&M. Only 4 of that whole thing really got in. So there's a difference in program. There's a difference in stature of dudes. Any team can beat a team on a given day. But consistency of a program and legacy, there's only a couple teams that got into the SEC for a reason like that.
Let's just say Johnny Manziel is a high school senior now, and Coach Prime is at CU. And Coach Prime comes down and talk to and Johnny said, look, Johnny, man, with you, I see big things for you and the program. And we need you to take us to the heights of where CU football can be. Would you be interested in playing for Coach Prime?
Without a doubt. Me and him being Texas guy.
Yeah, I don't even think that's a question, bro. If Prime was available at the time of him finding a college, I don't think there's not one question that he goes to play for Coach Prime. Come on.
Guys, he's up in Prosper. We've had a great relationship for years. And I think looking back on our relationship now, he knew something special in me to the point of where he, would interject in my life at times or send me a message or really show love that he didn't have to do. And if I was a college kid looking now, I would say Texas A&M is the best school in the country.
Right.
That's a given. But number 2, I would play for a man, for a guy who's a leader of men, for a guy who carries himself the way that Prime does. And without a doubt, I would sign my life. Look at it from a different perspective. If I was a father and my son was looking to go to play for a coach, I would absolutely, without a doubt, unequivocally send him to Coach Prime.
You said you played baseball from a very young age until you're about 14 or 15. How good of a baseball player was Johnny Manziel?
Really good.
What position did you play?
Played shortstop.
Okay.
I played middle infield. And I loved it. It was it for me. I was a good oppo hitter. I felt like I fielded the ball all right. I had a couple offers out there. I don't remember exactly what they were at the time because football was so, overshadowing everything in my life. But if you ask anybody that was around me from the time I was 12 to 16, they would say baseball was it could play.
You played shortstop because you said Jeter was your favorite player. You wore the number 2. So is that kind of how you tried to model your game? You do realize that Jeter was like pristine.
Which game we talking about? The one off the field with the baskets and the love notes and everything he had? Are we talking about
crazy? That's crazy. That's crazy. And we all know that boy Derek Jeter had that game though. That's Mr. He got game for real.
We talking about El Capitan.
He did a great job of like, you knew what he was doing, but you didn't really know what he was doing.
But always, if you know, you know.
You know. So you modeled your game out after Jeter. So you like, okay, I'm gonna be a shortstop. I'm gonna be beloved because
give me the pinstripes, man.
That's what
I wanted the pinstripes. I wanted Yankee Stadium, the whole thing.
So how good was your high school baseball team?
High school baseball team was pretty good. We had a kid that was 2 years older than me by the name of Logan Vick.
Okay.
And he ended up committing to Baylor. He was a all-state kind of guy, lefty, crazy power. When I played and got to varsity freshman and sophomore year, he played shortstop.
Okay.
So they kind of just plugged and played me wherever. And if he pitched, I took his position, but we kind of played off each other. And kind of when I was in high school and I saw him, how good he was better than me.
Right.
And he did things on a baseball field that I saw on the da-na-na.
Yeah.
He did that every day. And he hit some bombs that took out light poles and did the whole thing. He was that guy. And when I saw him and where I was, I always thought I ain't gonna be that. I really, truly was like,
I'm good, but I ain't that.
good, but I ain't that. And I'll sit here today and give you the honest truth of what it is. So that was kind of like, all right, you got to go do all of this just to get a 50, 60% of your scholarship paid for?
Right.
Get me on a gridiron.
Right. I read you were selected by the Padres in the 28th round, the 837th pick of 2014. So why didn't you just, you didn't have to go, but you could have said like, hey, I signed. I mean, I've been pretty good on the resume. Like, hey, Padres took your boy. I signed, but I ain't feel like doing. I play football.
Sound like my dad. My dad still to this day is like, you gonna go back and maybe go to the Padres and play baseball or something? I'm like, Pops, come on, man, pump those brakes.
But see, you look at Kyler. Kyler was the 8th pick in the draft. Why do you think a lot of guys choose football over baseball, considering the money that baseball players make? Shohei just got $700. Aaron Judge makes $40. We see what Mike Trout, and it's guaranteed. Why do you think guys that are really good and can play both, choose football over baseball?
Because this ain't all that runs the world. I can do the same with 700 as I can do with 50. That ain't it. For me, I'm not motivated by the money like that. So for me, it's about the rush. For me, it's about the thrill. The same thrill I got walking into a nightclub or partying or this or that. I've been a guy of thrills. And when you meet me in that A-gap or you meet me in the hole somewhere on a draw play and I mix you up so bad you're in a pretzel, like that rush to me, people trying to come after me and knock my head off, and being able to get away and be slippery and do what I did best in college, that's what made me feel alive. That's what made me feel whole.
Jorge has always put the one.
That's an interesting way to put it, to be honest, Mr. Manziel. I never really thought of it that way, but I guess that is true. I mean, that and like the love of the but probably like the love of the sport, to be honest. Like, you gotta really love football to be like, all right, fuck baseball. Even though I'm good at it, I'm gonna choose football because, yeah, bro, baseball, you don't have to deal with concussions. You get paid more than baseball. You have to deal with a lot less media attention. It's crazy.
Graduated early in high school, enrolled in Texas A&M. Why did you feel you needed? Did you feel you needed to do that, or you was just trying to get away from your hometown? Like, man, I got to get up.
As far as enrolling early,
yeah,
I saw the greats doing it. I saw the good quarterbacks in every class were getting on campus early to figure it out. So I would say it's 50-50 on if I just wanted to get away from the fam and get my own car and be in my own apartment. And I was in a hurry to grow up. which is what a lot of people do in life. And sitting back now, I realize that you should enjoy your time from your 12 to your 16, 17 years old. And it's only getting worse with NIL and what's going on in the world. People are treating 13, 14-year-old kids like brands and businesses. And, you know, you see all these kids, their social media, and they're trying to make money. Like, the love of the game is not about that. And now we're at the point where in college, you're getting exposure to millions and millions of dollars, and it's taken away the passion and the love for what it truly is.
Right.
If you would have handed me $1 million in my freshman year when I got to A&M, you'd have seen some shit. And that's
you might not have made your sophomore year, Johnny.
I might not. I definitely wouldn't be sitting in New York with that trophy. I promise you that. But you would have seen some shit for sure.
When you had
that would have been pretty dangerous, giving a young Johnny Manziel that much money in college.
you visit the Texas A&M, and you walking around on campus, and they normally they pull out their best, the best ladies to show you around. They call them hostesses, and they show you around, and you walking around on campus, and you looking around, you like, yeah, I'm coming early.
It's never about the girls for me back then, really, to the max. I've always been a guy that like rides for my dogs, and I enjoy the time with my bros and just drinking and, smoking or doing whatever. Like that was always what it was for me. So when I went on my visit to Texas A&M, they stuck me with two of the biggest party boys on the whole team, and they showed me the time of my life to the point of where I'm in the back of the Uber and I'm sick. Like I had too many shots. I am lit off my ass. And I remember being in this Uber and being like, man, I gotta throw up. I cannot let these guys see any sign of weakness. So I just remember being like, all right, I'm gonna see you boys later. I'll see you in the morning. And I don't even make it to my room. I don't even make it back to the room. My family were in these joined rooms at this hotel in College Station, the Hilton. And they wake up the next day and I'm just outside the door, just. And that to me, I woke up.
What? This motherfucker knocked out outside of the room, bruh.
The next day, they're kind of pushing me. I'm like, success.
I'm alive.
I'm good. And I'm sitting going to meet Coach Sherman at this taco place, Fuego. And I roll in probably 10 minutes late, and he looks at me, and I'm just white as a ghost. And Coach Sherman had been with Brett Favre in Green Bay. He knew what was up. And he was so good that he was just like, he knew when he put me with them two dudes from San Antonio, who I looked up to, it was on. And he had me. I'm in the boat. I'm in the boat.
When you go back and you mention your freshman year, where did you think you redshirted? What was it about that? Was it not being able to play as much as you thought you would? What transpired in Johnny's mind that kind of led him down the path of where he was headed?
Yeah, I just remember the first day going out to that first practice in the morning, and you get like one rep as that like young kid who's there early. This is spring practice. So, all the guys are getting done with the season, then you're into spring. And I get that one rep, and he's like, come back. And I'm like, 7-step drop. And I let this ball go, Shannon, and it might have hit the top of the indoor. This thing, and I remember Coach Sherman had his play sheet, and he threw it down, and he goes, what the fuck was that? I'm nervous. These balls, Tannehill like these balls aired up, like rock hard. Right. I need that Brady.
Yeah, you need a little
give me a little cushion for the push.
Bro, why you do Brady like that? Don't throw Brady under the bus like that. Don't do my goat like that, bro. Do not do my goat like that. Don't throw dirt on his name. We must protect Brady at all costs.
Yeah, what we're gonna say there, Shannon. And my confidence, man. I went from Mr. Football at Texas to getting in here and being like, I don't throw it like Jamil Showers does.
Right.
The guy who was behind Tannehill. I don't throw it like him. That ball don't come out, and it don't come out like that with me. So then you start to see, and you're comparing yourself to other people. And as that year went on, being the bottom of the barrel guy, being the guy that's getting ragged on by the seniors and this, and I'm traveling, like, I'm quiet. I don't talk much. I kind of stay in my lane. I don't ask questions. I ain't trying to better myself at that point.
Right.
I'm just losing confidence week by week. and just kind of like getting to the point where I'm like lost. Is football what I really like?
Right.
And that question was in my life from that point on.
Wow. So from that point on, you always questioned, was it the importance of football or
Ability.
I was about to say, does he possess the ability to be what many believe he can be? So you had self-doubt.
I had self-doubt for sure. And I had self-doubt, and I didn't get self-assurance of myself and what I was as a football player until Cliff Kingsbury walked in my life. And a funny story about Cliff Kingsbury that I tell to everybody, we've been locked in like this since the first day I ever met him. Kerrville, Texas is 40 miles an hour, away from San Antonio. So Cliff Kingsbury's at the University of Houston with Coach Someone, has Case Keenum there, obviously. Another real Texas high school football legend. And
Hey, shout out Case Keenum.
7 o'clock, our practice starts in Kerrville. We ran a very military drill style of football program with values, and a lot of what we talk about at Texas A&M was how my high school football program was. So Kingsbury comes out on the field that first morning, and I'm getting ready to warm up, and he comes up to me and he dabs me up and he goes, "What's up, bro? I just want to keep it a buck with you. I don't have any scholarships to give you. But every single coach that I walk into a building in San Antonio, Texas, said you need to get your ass in the car and come down here and watch this kid practice." So he goes, "That's exactly what I'm doing. And I just want to let you know, I'm here to watch you ball out for a practice. And one day, our paths will cross again." And I'm nervous. This is Cliff Kingsbury, who played at Texas Tech. This is another legend in my eyes.
Yeah.
Like,
Had a
he
lot
was
of records.
a real guy.
Yeah.
He wouldn't know whatever you want to say, but he was him.
Yeah.
At one point in time. And I didn't know the significance of what that talk as a high school kid was going to lead to being on a stage in New York 4 years later, 3 years later. But he kept it real with me like that. Was like, "Yo, I can't take you, but I'm here to watch you ball."
Wow.
And after that and after the day of the workout, he just sitting over there on the side and he just gives me one of these like, "You crushed that."
If you would have sat out your entire season as a freshman, do you think you would have learned your lesson?
No. I think it took me having the biggest fear of my entire life, failure, come to fruition. And failure wouldn't have happened for me if I didn't get to the success that I got. Does that make sense?
Yes. Do you think they would have disciplined you?
I think they could have. I think what I was doing in the off season and what I was doing in my workouts and who I was as a team leader, coming back with the Heisman Trophy, they should have benched me. They should have suspended me. But what I was doing, "Hey, you can't smoke weed."
Man, give me the fattest. Give me the fattest one you got, bro.
Talk about it. It's bought a box of white grapes. We ain't even slowing down nothing over here. This is what,
sir. Tee me up, Johnny Manziel.
we're doing. And like from
What
that,
is he talking about?
okay, so you win the Heisman.
Yeah.
We come back. We play Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl.
Smashing.
Smack. Okay. After that night after the game is the infamous sparklers in the mouth with the Dom and the Burberry scarf.
Yeah.
Right after. This is where like it starts, and it's like we just smacked our old rival in the Big 12 in Jerry World in front of 105 on New Year's Day. This is where the ego, this is where this is where you shift from, Johnny Manziel into Johnny Football, the little transition, and then from there it's Johnny Football.
Yeah. And now there's no more self-doubt.
Now there's no more self-doubt because I know what I'm doing in practice. I know what I'm doing when I see cover 2 and I'm whole shot. I'm toying with them in practice. They're mad. The only thing they have on me in practice in the setting that I'm seeing the live rep, bullets, fire, is they can't tell when a sack happens in practice because we ain't sacking people.
Right.
And in a game, practice, I'm running and give somebody a little move, and I'm just looking at him like, ain't no way you making that tackle on the field, buddy. You can hop and hoop around and do your whole defensive thing all you want. But out there under them lights, that ain't gonna happen, brother. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
And that's not me speaking out of my ass. I got film.
Right.
I got stuff to show you that like I was more than what you thought I was, especially as a running quarterback.
John,
I led the SEC.
Wow.
1,400 yards rushing in my freshman year. Wow. It's documented.
1,400 rushing yards in your freshman season in the SEC. That's impressive, bro.
The first freshman in NCAA history to pass for 3,000 yards and rush for 1,000 yards in the same season. The first player to pass for 300 yards and rush for 100 yards in the same games 3 times. Broke Archie Manning's 43-year-old record for 500 and total yards of total offense with 576. Owns all these freshmen records. 11-2, ranked number 5, best since 1956. Beat Oklahoma 41-13 in the Cotton Bowl. Produced 516 yards of offense, 4 touchdowns with a record 229 yards rushing. Do you understand at the time what you're actually doing?
When the ESPN Heisman list came out about week 8, 9 is when I started to kind of see like, whoa, because this is, my life growing up with my boys was NCAA football, the video game, the road to glory, the road to the Heisman, creating a player and being able to go do these things, pick your school, go to the, do all of that. And now I'm living it.
Right.
So the focus doesn't shift to like getting the Heisman. It just focuses on like taking this team to heights that we haven't been before. Mm-hmm. And when you walk into Tuscaloosa, Alabama and do what happened that day, something that leaves a legacy, 2012, it's 12 years later, mm-hmm. where I walk down the street every day of my life and somebody comes up and daps me up and goes, 15.5-point underdogs, Alabama. I'll never forget that day for the rest of my life. That's what kind of impact that day had on college football. And I hear it every day, see it every day.
You see Alabama on the schedule, and you're on the Heisman watch list. You mentioned your 15-point underdogs, and you understand what Alabama is. That's Coach Saban. You know the dogs that he has on that roster. You know the dogs that he sends to the NFL every year, multiple. What's going through your mind? Do you ever think, man, if I can go to Alabama, if I can go to Tuscaloosa and beat Bama, they got to take notice.
Can't think like that. Can't think like that and be successful because you're putting pressure on yourself that's unneeded.
Okay.
I got 95% of the country that's saying Alabama's going to beat us. What do we have to lose, right? I remember being on the bus on the way to the game and putting on the movie 300. This part comes on where it's give to them nothing, but take from them every single thing, everything. And that was my mindset going into the game, that like everybody in this stadium expects you to lose. Everybody in this state is rooting against you. Mm-hmm. We got maybe 20, 30,000 loyal Aggies scattered through about in the stands. We already lost 2 games that year.
Right.
What's the third going to do? We're out of the SEC title. We're out of, the national championship conversation. Let's just try and go ball. And Cliff Kingsbury put together an unbelievable game plan for us offensively that highlighted our strengths, that kept us from being too vulnerable in a defense like that. And for the first half of that game, they don't know what the fuck is going on. We're running option with go routes and all. We are just unleashing the Cliff Kingsbury like creativeness of a football playbook for an air raid. This wasn't old Mike Leach air raid. This wasn't anything that Lincoln was doing wherever. This was just its own subtle thing, our own, particular thing.
Right.
That was tailored to me being able to run the ball the way that I could, as well as having an unbelievable offensive line to be able to handle what they were throwing at us. Luke Jokel, Jake Matthews, Cedric Aboya, these are all first-round picks in the NFL and some really, really solid players.
Right. Wow, I forgot you guys had that kind of offensive line.
Yep.
So that's why they were able to hold up. Jokel was the number 2 pick in the draft. I think Jake Matthews was the top 10 pick in the draft.
Luke Jokel, Jake Matthews.
You guys were loaded. Mike Evans, Swoops was very underrated.
Mike Evans, and that's somebody that...
Yeah, Mike Evans on Texas A&M was different. That motherfucker was different. He was in the NCAA video game too, bro. Oh my God.
Man.
He was like Calvin Johnson of college football in his time.
What a brother to me, man. It makes me even emotional even thinking about it. We got to come in at the same time in redshirt. And that redshirt year, we were tearing their ass up on the scout team. So much that I went to my locker one day later in the year and they took my red jersey so they couldn't hit me. And they put a black jersey on me to be able to smack me in practice because me and Mike were doing our thing. We were starting that recipe of that pot. And we were starting to cook. And then as that year goes on, that redshirt freshman year that we play together, you start to see a kid who's like a man amongst boys out there and like really 6'5" with that frame. Like he was always what he was. But that confidence that started to grow in him, me and him had this telepathy. Same way you probably had with a quarterback back in the day where it's just like, that was a route.
Right.
Quick, easy. He knew everything. And me and him had that relationship that was like special. Wow. And it'll never be taken from us. You know, I can sit here and talk to him and still do the same signals this 12 years later. I could throw a peace sign, he's gonna go to the crib.
Right.
Is what that means every time. So, you know, to have a special bond with somebody like that kid, that guy, that man means the fucking world to me.
When Alabama started to come back, you looked at reporting, you said F Alabama, F Saban, and that you were going to score. Why were you so confident? Why? Because the crowd had gotten back in it. They're going haywire. Defense, just freshmen. Why were you so confident that you was going to get this football and you were going to go down the field and score?
Yeah, well, the first, half of that game, first quarter, we're up 20-0. So that stadium, you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
And Tuscaloosa doesn't get like that very much, if ever. You can count on both your hands how many times they've lost since 2010, for the most part.
Yes.
So confidence in what we were doing, we lost our first game of the year to Florida. Cool, first game of the year, whatever. Then we get up on LSU and we end up blowing that game where I feel like we really should have won. That was our turning point in the season. So after that, we started to get together and come together that we didn't want to be, the weak link of this team. We needed that offense and who we had to be the catalyst, to be the center point of that team. And we needed our defense just to kind of hold on. So as much as the Tuscaloosa and the Alabama game is about me and the offense, it's not the way I look at it. Our defense got multiple stops, got a pick late on like the last drive as they're on the 8-yard line to go in and take the lead. That changes things. We get a pick, we get the ball out, and then there's 50 seconds left in the game. We are on like 3rd and 7, Saban has a timeout. We run a run play, we get like 4, we're backed up on our own 20. So it's punt time. Now we're gonna punt it to who? It could have been Amari Cooper. Whoever they had back there was a menace. And we put.
Who remembers Amari Cooper on Alabama back in the day?
Just playing all week of a special teams punt scenario where we go on the hard count. It's 3rd and 4. We go hard count. They jump. We touch them. First down. Mic drop. So you have your offense, what we did in the first half. We scored 20 in the first quarter.
Right.
We only scored 9 the rest of the game. We're hanging on for dear life. The plays that we made on that one score drive, the 6 points we scored in the second half was off a turnover, wheel route down the sideline, dime, corner route, next play, dime. 2 plays, touchdown, like very opportunistic and going with the flow of the game. And then you seal the game with a special teams play. So you got offense, defense, special teams. We walk into the locker room in Tuscaloosa and we burn that thing down.
Total team win.
Total, completely, without a doubt, total team win.
If they have the college football playoff in 2011, you guys have to, and A&M gets it. Do you believe y'all win the national championship?
We got to play Bama again probably, so that's another knock it out. I think we have a very good chance.
Right.
I think we got better, and even from the Tuscaloosa game, the Alabama game, up until the Cotton Bowl.
What do y'all think? Do y'all think they're beating Bama twice in the same season? That A&M team was different, but that Bama team was special too. So I don't know if they're gonna beat them twice, but it still might be a good game though.
The Cotton Bowl was our best showing of the entire year.
Yeah, y'all put it together, man.
Yeah, and we did, and that's just where our that was the pinnacle of what our team was that year, and we showed it at the last game on the biggest stage.
You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy.
Come on, Unc. We're not here for these.
How was he during that time?
Amazing. And his parents and family, the way they were with my
New York for the Heisman ceremony, and you're up against Manti Te'o, and you know what transpired with all that situation, being catfished. Did you guys talk to anything about that? So how?
Yo, shout out Manti Te'o, bro. He was an absolute dog at Notre Dame, and I thought shit was really gonna pop off when he went to the Chargers, but
how was he during that time?
Amazing. And his parents and family, the way they were with my family, you know, you'll see my dad and my mom in the videos of that Heisman ceremony with leis around their neck. So it was a very, you know, we were close throughout that week, right? I thought his family was amazing. I thought Manti was amazing. You know, I didn't know anything about whatever anything else was until later from the doc. And, you know, during those times, we even played against each other when I was in Cleveland and he was in San Diego, I think. So we always had a good relationship. You know, I always respected him for, you know, what he stood for and who he was as a person and who his family was.
Right. I'm going back and I'm looking at guys that have won the Heisman from the SEC. You look at Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield. You were the first freshman to ever win it, and you accumulated an SEC record then, 4,600 yards of total offense. Where would you put yourself if we're having a college? And I'm not going to.
And you know, during those times, we even played against each other when I was in Cleveland and he was in San Diego, I think. So we always had a good relationship. You know, I always respected him for, you know, what he stood for and who he was as a person and who his family was.
Right. I'm going back and I'm looking at guys that have won the Heisman from the SEC. You look at Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield. You were the first freshman.
Wait, Baker Mayfield played in the SEC? I thought Baker Mayfield played in he played at Oklahoma, right? Which I think that's Big 12, right?
Freshman to ever win it, and you accumulated an SEC record then, 4,600 yards of total offense. Where would you put yourself if we're having a college? And I'm not going to the NFL because obviously the guys with the prototypical size. But where would you think Johnny Manziel Heisman Trophy season would rank among those guys?
Behind Burrows.
Behind Burrow, but in front of Cam?
No.
What about?
I would say, for me, in my opinion, Joe.
Oh yeah, I don't know what Unc was talking about that. I'm pretty sure Baker Mayfield never played in the SEC, but let me see. I might be tripping.
The prototypical size. But where would you think Johnny Manziel Heisman Trophy season would rank among those guys?
Behind Burrows.
Behind Burrow, but in front of Cam?
No.
What about?
I would say, for me, in my opinion, Joe Burrows is probably the best Heisman season to ever happen. And that's just like, look at the numbers. Like, it's not.
That is true, bro. That 2019 LSU team was nasty.
Even a comparison.
For me, it's him or Barry.
And the swagger and what he did it with, and I think it's a no-brainer. I think, agree. Him and Barry somewhere up there at the top, stand alone type of thing. Cam, for me, is of cultural importance, and you know, coming in from Blinn Junior College and going to Auburn, I remember that, and then they played the team Oregon that I was committed to at the time.
Right.
So it leaves an impact and a memory on me, and I love Cam Newton.
Right.
To the max. Love what he stands for. Love what he's about. Love him to death, and always have. He knows that, and so I think you go Joe Burrow.
Fellow dropouts.
I think you go Cam, and then I'm right below that. And I respect Bakers and Kylers, and you can nitpick all this all you want, because at the end of the day, it's all about getting to that stage in New York and getting that trophy.
Right.
Now you're splitting hairs on who's greater than who, when all collectively as a whole, we're fucking badass.
Right. You win the Heisman as a freshman. You come back your sophomore year, and you have some issues. We start the season off with, well, it's reported that Johnny Manziel signed 4,000 items and this and that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, Johnny signed 4,000 items for free. So, Johnny, why put yourself in that situation where it could be allegedly?
I got a head on my shoulders, man. I'm smart enough to know what's going around me. I'm seeing the money fly around me.
Right.
I'm not walking through that same bookstore watching those number 2 jerseys fly off the shelf.
Break me off.
Where am I cut? It's everywhere else for
Right.
everybody else.
Yeah, bro. I don't blame him, bro. I do not fucking blame that boy Manziel. Cause it's like, bro, you only in college for so long. Like, shit, at least let me get a little spare change off of that shit. If you gonna use my name and shit, like,
I got $700 a month coming in on stipend. That ain't enough for me to do what
You
I
need
want to
7
do.
bands a month coming in, huh?
I need 70 bands.
70 bands? Come on.
7?
70?
How the hell am I travel to Miami with 7 bands? What are we doing with 7 bands here? I need 70.
Wow.
and honestly, that's probably accurate too. Like, that's not even much to ask for from somebody of his stature during this time frame. Bro, Manziel, Johnny Football was everywhere. Johnny Football honestly was an era. Like, this shit was a real movement in the football community. Niggas know, like, Johnny Football started up a whole swag era. Like, it was...
Let me ask you this. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, when Johnny Manziel, his Heisman Trophy season and the season after, the NIL is in existence. How much Johnny Football get?
Probably $10 million a year. I could have done 5 on my own with the Instagram. I could have done $5 million a year on my own just through the people and connections I had on my phone.
Right.
That's what a lot of people don't understand is during this time and during this rise, and a lot of where my downfall probably came from is, you know, I get on my phone and get on Twitter and be like, yo, Shannon Sharp just followed me. Come on, James Harden, Drake, LeBron.
And you partying with him.
I'm a DM away from being Rockets courtside. I'll be there in an hour and a half. My access that I had to the world and people that I wanted to be around was limitless with just my cell phone in a house in College Station.
Had Johnny Manziel been a little bit more discreet, you probably still could have got that 10. But because IG and you posting it, you at Live and you at all these places with the star, they're like, man, ain't no way in hell no college athlete has that kind of access unless he getting broke off.
My family's rich.
Yeah, and so is that, and see, you play to it because you could use that, you know, Johnny doing that. Man, Johnny wouldn't take no money, his family rich. Well, little did they know, Johnny ain't worth $50 million like being reported.
Correct. So, I wasn't discreet at that point in my life.
Not at all.
I wasn't calculated. I wasn't precise in how I was moving. I was 19 years old.
Right.
I don't know nothing about the real way of the world.
Right.
I don't know nothing about what happens in Miami.
Right.
I'm a young, naive kid out here trying to get a bag on my own.
Right.
I don't know nothing. And I can't tell my parents. Can't tell my coaches. I don't got nobody to bounce this information off of. You know, this is the point where I start like reclusing to myself, and like big problem in my life, Shannon, has been I wake up every day for the last 10, 12 years and do exactly as I please and exactly as I want every single day. And as I'm moving forward in my life right now, I believe that as a man in life, to humble yourself and to be able to get to where you want to go, you have to do things that you don't want to do.
Right.
You have to do things that make you uncomfortable. You can't just wake up and go down this path of la-di-da, I'm going to do everything as I please in that moment of time. That's going to make you soft. That's going to make you got all these things that come with that, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. If you go out and put yourself in uncomfortable situations, if you go out and work hard for what you want.
That's facts, bro. Eventually you'll get to that point, though, when you can wake up and do whatever the hell it is you want, but it takes a lot of uncomfortable days and shit to get there, for sure.
Which isn't the most glorified way all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not fun to go work hard and put your time and your effort into something, especially something you may not really love truly deep down to your core. So, you know, what I've learned in life is, you know, make yourself uncomfortable. Do things that you don't want to do to help others. You know, be selfless. Mm-hmm. Find a way to give back more than just thinking about yourself. And I'm sitting here today saying at 19 years old, I was only about self. You know, that first year as my Heisman year, there was a lot less of that. I had my camaraderie with the team. I was a leader. I was there for my dogs. And then as that shifts, I became a bad teammate. I became a bad role model. I became a bad example for what a Texas A&M University football player should be, and an ambassador for my school at that point in time. And I still to this day hold a lot of shame about things that I did from 19 to 27, 28 years old. Shame, Shannon. To where I couldn't sleep at night, to where I went into the LA and the Hollywood Hills and I hid from everybody except the TMZ cameras in the middle of the night. And that, for me, has taken a decade to come to terms with what happened in my life and what I did to myself. Because at the end of the day, I don't have anybody to blame but myself. My mom and dad didn't raise me to be that. And Coach Sumlin or Coach Kingsbury or any of those guys at Texas A&M didn't raise me to be that way. My teammates sure as hell didn't push me down that path of being there. So why did it happen? You know, those are the questions that have taken me a decade to find out what makes me who I am, and coming to terms and accepting who I am. The good, okay, great, that's awesome. That's unequivocally me. The bad, okay, let's find out and identify what that is and be better bit by bit, day.
W Johnny Manziel, bro. He's got a real straight head on his shoulders now, bro. I'm so glad, because for a minute there, I think we all seen Johnny Manziel was falling apart, bro. He was going down a very dark path.
By day, to ensure that what happened in the past ain't gonna happen again moving forward.
If Johnny Football persona had never been created, do you still go down that path?
Yeah, I do, without a doubt. From that day in Kerrville, you know, from getting to there and being that guy and like getting a rise out of it and getting notoriety and people coming around you. It's fame is
it's a drug. It's addictive.
Oh, it's a high. You chase the dragon of fame, man. You chase the dragon of clout. And it is very, very addictive. And It is a problem that I dealt with in my life. And if you would have asked me in 2014 or 15, I'd have been like, nah.
Right.
Because for a long time, I didn't see myself as the true level of fame of what I really was.
Who dimed you out for that autograph signing? Somebody dimed you out.
Somebody got stuck with a lot of merch, a lot of stuff that they couldn't sell. And then from there, they got stuck with maybe like $20,000 worth of product. And the compliance department was cracking down on indie autographs that were on eBay and this and that. So they lost their avenue of how to get rid of their product.
Right.
And they got stuck. And the guy went to the University of Texas, was in Houston. He blew the whistle, and then it all started to crumble down. And it happened quick.
What? That's fucking crazy. That's fucked, bro. Like, why not just get rid of the shit? Just because you can't make any profit off of someone else's shit, you go and you decide to take it to go and fuck up their future? Just throw it away, bro. That's salty, bro. That man was salty.
If you'd have had somebody behind the scenes working, because Texas A&M is, those boosters, they want what you gave them. You gave them a Heisman Trophy. You almost led them to a national, a national championship. If you'd have had somebody working behind the scenes, said, look, let's keep this kid happy. This is all it's going to take, because you mentioned your dad. You said, told Kevin Sumlin, you didn't know anything about this, for $3 million. That's a drop in the bucket, considering that you could have made 10. So I'd say, like, for $5 million, he'll stay. Won't ever say a word about this. And you say, Kevin Sumlin looked at him like, bro, we're going to keep this train rolling without Johnny.
I needed Cliff. I needed Kingsbury for that situation to go in a perfect way.
So you needed Cliff to be your offensive coordinator, because he left.
I needed Cliff to be my offensive coordinator, and I needed Cliff to be that role model in my life when I got too out of whack. Because that first year, my freshman redshirt, my Heisman year, I was skirting the lines a little bit. But every time I started to get here, he went,
pull you back.
Every time.
Focus.
And I looked him. From that day he came on that high school field to come look at me and tell me he couldn't offer me, I had a trust with him and a bond with him that I still have to this day. And when he left, fuck, it sucked.
I Honestly, I feel like Cliff Kingsbury would have done Johnny Manziel very good, bro. Me, like, personally seeing having Cliff Kingsbury as a coach here for the Cardinals a couple of seasons, I can say, I mean, he's probably not the best head coach, but he's definitely a good leader, and you could tell he's a good guy. He's a good, honest guy. And Johnny Manziel probably needed some type of role model like that. And niggas just wasn't there for him, bro. That's crazy.
I'm looking at this. They said they sold 45 million number 2 Texas A&M Adidas jersey.
Maybe 45 million in revenue. 45 million, a lot of jerseys.
Texas, well, okay, 45. And so if they'd have gave you, say, here, Johnny, we gonna give you 5%.
I'll take 10.
Damn, Johnny, 5% is more better than what you get.
You're right. Okay, 5.
But when you see Texas A&M making 45 million in jersey sales, and Johnny Manziel getting $700 in a stipend, that doesn't sit right with you, does it?
It didn't.
So you start concocting a way how you can get some of that pie.
Exactly.
Yup.
I got my pie.
But you knew that it was wrong. You knew that you could get yourself in trouble and potentially the university. But at that point in time, what?
Yes. I knew that it was against the rules. I know that I'm putting myself in a position that may not work out well for me or my university. But at that time, once again, going back to selfish Johnny Manziel, I'm thinking about how to get that. How do I get that stipend bumped up? I'm thinking about the money at this point. Like, I don't expect myself, even after winning the Heisman Trophy, to be able to go get drafted. I didn't know if that was a sure thing to go to the NFL draft or be able to make any money. So I know what I needed then. I needed more money. And, with that money that I got as well, I took care of my dogs in the locker room. In a big college locker room, there's dudes in there that sending half their stipend or all their stipend back home, and they're taking 6 to-go boxes out of the athletic facility. They go into the apartment and there's no lights on. You see, and this is what I see, people come from all different walks of life that walk into these locker rooms. Yes. They don't come from Kerrville, Texas, from the suburbs all the time.
Yeah.
They come from the trenches.
Yes.
And I bond with people that come from nothing. Me and Mike Evans like this. He's from Galveston, Texas, born on the island. It is no joke down there. Where he's from is a different way of life. And I've seen, because of the sport that I played, how all these people come in from different walks of life. And it's not.
Yeah, Johnny definitely seems like a good ass type of teammate to hook some people up for sure. Like, I feel like if I was teammates with him, I could definitely loan like $5 off of him, and I know he wouldn't judge, because he got it like that.
Not as peachy as you think it may be. It's not all rainbows and butterflies out there for some of these kids that come in, and it's tough. And I took care of my dogs.
Right.
All this money didn't just go to me. A lot of it did. But if my boys needed something, they got it. And if I wasn't there, that tab at the club was
picked up.
Always.
Did your parents know you was getting this money?
Oh yeah.
Cause you breaking them off too, huh? You ain't. How you ain't break mom and dad off?
Mom and dad are doing fine. Mom and dad are living at the biggest golf course in town. Dad's got his best job he's ever had.
Right.
What you want?
Did you help him get the job?
No. My dad's independent on his own to be able to go do that. I'm sure my name and what was going on, of course, might have helped it, but I was finding out, and it was hard to just be like, what do you do with this cash? I can't. How do you book a flight? How you gonna go somewhere? What do you do? How do you check into a hotel? How you do this? So it was like,
you ain't have any credit cards? You ain't get no credit card, Johnny?
I ain't know nothing about a credit card until I got to Cleveland, Ohio. I know nothing. I would go buy American Express gift cards for $1,000 in cash and then have that. And then I got to keep track of how much is on it.
Bro went his whole entire college career without knowing about credit.
Every balance and stuff. And I'm going through Amex gift cards like this, going out of style.
Bro, I'm not going to speak too much on that because I still got to finish fucking high school. But even I know how this shit works, bro. At 18, I understood how credit works, bro.
So I didn't know anything about a credit card. I didn't know anything about credit. Nothing.
Let's Reggie Bush. Similar situation. I guess his parents took some money over there, living in a house, and he ended up having his Heisman Trophy taken from him.
Bro, give that man back his Heisman, please. It rightfully needs to be handed back to him after all this NIL shit.
You believe Reggie should get his Heisman Trophy back?
Without a doubt. It's legal now. What Reggie did then is legal now that somebody could do.
Right.
It wouldn't make him ineligible now, even though it did at the time. And in the grand scheme of things, I probably did way worse than Reggie.
Right.
And everybody's going to sit here and be like, why does he still have his Heisman but Reggie doesn't? And I can tell you the exact reason why. I explained this on Twitter and people didn't really understand it, but the way I was told, because the last 3-4 years, I've been walking back into the Heisman. I've been rallying the board, talking with the guys. There's chatter, there's chirp going around that nobody in this crew, in this Heisman fraternity, it sits right with us that Reggie ain't up there with us every year. It makes every one of us sitting there, Troy Smith, all these guys that I sit next to on it. He deserves to be on that stage with us every year,
right,
unequivocally, without a doubt, without a question. One of the best college football players to ever lace them up, and a very, very good argument to be the best ever in college football.
Do you believe he'll
that
get...
boy Reggie Bush, he was like a literal video game on the football field. Like, he was a player out of whatever NCAA or Madden video game. You pluck him out and put him onto a real life football field. That's what Reggie Bush was, bro. Go watch some Reggie Bush highlights from USC or the Saints. To be honest, he was nice on the Saints too.
Get his trophy back.
What I've been told is that Reggie can't get his Heisman Trophy back until the NCAA makes his records and his accolades on the field for that year reinstated.
Okay.
As we know what the NCAA is now, what do you think the chances are that they're going to do the right thing?
Not looking likely.
Not looking likely, and it's sad. And from the top down, from the NCAA, they've been so wrong with so many things that you would hope that one day they would do the right thing.
Yeah, honestly, if it's up into the hands of the NCAA, Reggie, you can honestly kiss those dreams goodbye, because you know damn well the NCAA is not gonna make the right decision, bro.
Do this.
They're gonna make the most political decision they can possibly, the most political excuse they can possibly come up with.
I'm going to continue to do everything that I can in my power, whatever that may be. I'm just the little guy. I'm just the old first freshman to win it. I ain't got the clout like I used to be able to really make that happen. But for what I can in my part, I will always stand on this table right here for Reggie Bush and do anything that I can in my power to make sure that it's possible for him to even get his trophy back.
What's your best guess as to why Coach Saban walked away from the game, still coaching at the highest level?
I think the NIL has changed everything for what he's known. You know, I think it's made it so much more hands-on and continually having to stay on these guys because of how many people are in their ear. It's not the firm handshake anymore. It's not the old school way.
Bro, deadass. That's the exact same reason why Saban he left the NFL. The reason why he left college football is the exact reason why he never coached in the NFL. I mean, except for those few years, but bro, it's the college football, for all intents and purposes, Division I NFL football has turned into the NFL. It's all a bidding war now. Like, whoever's got the most money is gonna have the best team, to be honest. So I could definitely see why Saban was like, bro, this is a joke. Absolute fucking joke.
Days of the world where your word is your bond and this and that is a very wishy-washy, where's the money today, right? And if it's today, somebody who can outbid you, where's your loyalty? Just 16, 17-year-old kids we're talking about here.
Right.
So in my opinion, Saban doesn't want to deal with that anymore. And what better way than to go out the way that he did? You know, from what I've seen and what I saw in the media, he's still very involved in the program. Mm-hmm. I mean, he retires and then goes back into the office at work the next day. So Nick Saban is it. He's him. He is exactly what you expect him to be. And when I met him, you know, in New York, that second year of 2013 when I went back, I remember him walking into the room. A.J. McCarron was a finalist, I think.
Honestly, no one wants to think about HIV, but there are things that everyone can do to help prevent it.
And I I think AJ was a finalist. And he walks into the room, and it's just like, I remember it like this cloud, huge aura of a person walking in. You know, he's not that big, but like the way he carries himself and the aura that he has around him is like nobody you're ever going to come in contact with. And I remember him walking into the room and shaking his hand and talking to him for a second. And then that conversation kind of fades, and we go on about the night. And for the rest of my life, I'll never forget that moment of him walking in. That guy.
Is it a situation now with the NIL, no matter how great a coach is, you see in basketball, Coach K walks away, Roy Williams walks away. Some of the Pantheon greats have said, so now it's really a level playing field, because Alabama used like, okay, we're going to put you in the NFL, but now somebody will say, well, they're going to put you in the NFL, but we're going to give you $2 million. So now has it leveled the playing field, or has it created an unequal playing field?
There was already an unequal playing field, I feel like. So if anything, it's given the littler guys a chance. Like, gives the Colorados, right?
Yeah.
Get a guy like Prime. Take your program from here to here. You're getting a little bit more level. You got the transfer portal. You know, Colorado can now take people from Alabama or Georgia that don't want to go there just based off the transfer portal. So I think it's brought it up and made it a little even. You know, college football goes in those waves of like, you got your Florida dynasty, you got your USC one, you have Texas with a little run in there. You know, you got your Ohio State, you got your Bama, Georgia, you have your runs of like, I didn't want to go on this whole SEC tangent and be all biased.
but it is what it is.
It is what it is. So, I mean,
hey,
come
on. Show Michigan State a little bit. Show Michigan a little bit of love. Come on now. I know he threw in Ohio State, but throw Michigan in there. They just won the chip.
Always been teams every year throughout the year that are a little bit above and below the others. You can always have the little guy that comes up and has that magical run. But for the most part, you know, it is a little lopsided. It is hard for those Akrons or Bowling. Like, it is harder for those D1 lower schools to ever really get in the conversation. And in my opinion, I think this is a better way or only way that they can really ever even recruit on the same level as anybody else. And that'll mostly be through the transfer portal.
Yeah, but do you see these teams now? You see it probably Alabama and Ohio State and Michigan and all these teams. They're probably going to their boosters, or they're going to their college and say, look, man, we got to have a fund. We got to have $25-30 million in order to get these kids. And now you see, look, and talking to Coach Prime, he's like, you know, you see guys going into the portal because these guys have already been in college. And so you kind of know, okay, they understand the college. They got to go to class. They got to go to study hall. They've already played college ball and played at a high level. So it's a little easier for you to break a guy off that's in the portal, because, you know, look at Addison. He wins the Biletnikoff and he changes school. That's unheard of. You would have never got a guy that wins a Buckus or win an award. Do you? Award like that, the Gursky or whatever the case may be, the Thorpe, and transfer schools, Johnny.
What if I told you that after Cliff Kingsbury left and I won the Heisman, that I thought about maybe going somewhere else too?
How much it was going to take for them to break you off for you to even consider it?
I don't know at that point in time. You know, I was thinking about, like, you know, I loved A&M, but this way that, like,
could you feel the shift?
Could I feel the shift? I don't know. I could see that I was getting used a little bit into what they needed me to do to have their master plan, right? A&M had their vision of what they needed with this hype and this success to get the program as a whole where they needed to be. Unfortunately, where they needed to go and where I needed to go and grow as a human being and as a football player weren't always step in step. They weren't always aligned.
Right.
Do I have hard feelings about it, or do I feel any kind of way about it right now? Absolutely not. I love my school. I love what happened. I love walking back into that stadium and feeling like I had a piece of putting one of these bricks in the walls outside. And I can carry myself and say that. I don't think it's the house that Johnny built.
That's what they call it.
They can call it what they want.
You gotta like that.
Like?
Yeah.
That's disrespectful to Mike Evans. That's disrespectful to Jake Matthews.
Well, Mike Evans, they didn't call Mike Evans Mike Football. They call you Johnny Football. They didn't call Jake Matthews or Luke Jokel.
Okay, so I get the praise for what we do as a team because my play is special on the field.
Let me ask you a question. When you were a little kid, they're like, all right, who want to play O-line?
Probably because you're the leader of the team, because that's kind of like, that's just the aura and the role that the quarterback takes. You know, as being the quarterback, you just automatically the leader of the squad. Johnny, just fucking accept the compliment, bro. Damn.
Raise your hand. Who want to play DB? Raise your hand. Who want to play quarterback? Exactly. Okay. They chose the position that they wanted.
So it's a positional thing. You're giving the quarterback the rightful piece of the pie.
Now, which one of those guys was flying private?
Probably just me.
Yeah. Okay, who was buying jewelry cars?
Probably just me.
Yeah. Well, who was hanging with Drake and James, sitting courtside at James Harden?
It's definitely just me.
Yes, now you understand. It was the house that Johnny built.
Okay, so you put it that way, I mean, you ain't never gonna get me to admit to it.
But help me understand this, John. I'm trying to figure out how you get suspended for half a game. I mean, that's like I'm gonna suspend you from school, but you don't have to come to first, second, and third, but you get to come fourth, fifth, and sixth.
You know what I asked? I asked if I could be suspended for the second half because we'd be up so much in the first half.
Right.
They said no.
I mean, so what was it like knowing that you're not gonna play the first half, and then you got to come in? You come in cold the second half.
Nerve-wracking. Really, really the height of any nerves that I've ever had, other than that Bengals game that I started my first game in the NFL. Crazy nervous, so much the first play that we drew up this beautiful.
Wait, what did he get suspended for that first half? Was it because of flipping off the crowd or some shit like that?
Bunch formation with the outside motion coming in, and we knew we were going to get him in the trail, and we knew it'd split.
Right.
We knew we'd do the scissor off in quarters. He's going to take that corner for sure, and we're going to bust right down the middle. I catch the ball, I take 3 steps, and I'm seeing red at this point. I drop back, and the line opens up, and I just see this one linebacker, and I'm just looking at him dead in the eyes, and like, I'm not even seeing nothing back here.
Right. Me
and you, come on. That was how I started my games in college. And we started with so many running plays, because when I got hit the first time and I got a pop, it settled me down to the point of where I could go on about our offensive scheme for the first day. So going into that game, suspended the first half, coming back out the first play of the second half, we draw up this beautiful touchdown, and it works. But I'm just like so laser focused and locked in on getting hit so I can kind of settle down and go. And
the United States Postal Service, built for how you business.
Spring is... Damn. Did he fumble that play? Did he fumble the bag that play?
That half went fine. I don't think we played very good football because it's hard to get that, flow going when you're not playing in the first half and you just come in the second. But really, really almost the pinnacle of my nerves of college football in that setting.
But Johnny, you kept signing autographs. You kept partying. Did you feel those things helped you? I mean, did you feel that you functioned and you played better while doing those things?
Okay, that's a great question. That's a really good question, because at that point in time in my life, I felt like the harder I partied, the better that I played.
How?
My freshman year. Tuesdays were beer with the baseball boys at the house playing games, and Thursdays were hitting Northgate, going to the town. Drunk as you could get with all the dogs. Friday was the walkthrough. I go to the walkthrough at 10 a.m. in the morning, dying.
Smelling like a liquor store.
Like a liquor store. And then I would go through that walkthrough, and you can ask anybody that was on that team, and I hit those walkthroughs hard.
Right.
Hand in the fake, I'm taking off down the sideline for 20, 30 yards, running back. I'm sweating it out.
You try to sweat it out?
Oh, yeah. Then we get on the plane.
Right.
Get to the hotel, meetings. This is the system, and we're winning.
Right.
Now we're 11-2. We'd beat Bama, and this whole year is Tuesday, Thursday. Bang, bang. All week, every time, like clockwork. Every game of the season that year. And I'm getting better as it goes on. I ain't losing a step until that first offseason in 2013. That's when I'm starting to smoke more weed. That's when I'm partying a lot more. And then from there, I'm not taking care of myself in the way that I did the year before to go be special. And my numbers my second year totally
were better.
That's what I needed to do. At that point in time, I needed to get you guys or whoever it was on First Take or this and that talking in the right direction, that these are my, this guy went back and did better than he did the year before.
Dog, that is a nasty ass fucking college schedule, bro. Bro was literally living off of the liquor and weed and partying, and then just going to warm-ups and walkthroughs and practices, and then just absolutely balling out on Saturdays. I mean, that's definitely impressive, but I could see whereas when you get to the NFL, that shit definitely gonna fall apart. Like, ain't no way that shit is gonna be able to keep up. Especially with the NFL being how much of a business it is, you gotta take it serious at all times.
So therefore, what is the next step? The next step is the league, the show, the big thing. And that's where I was at in my life. I felt like I did enough I was living my life at that point in time to appease what other people expected from me or wanted from me. I wasn't living really in the right way. I mean, obviously I wasn't, but like I was there to like tell people what they wanted to hear and like had these people around me. This is how you need to carry yourself. And in that, I lost who I was. And when you lose who you are, you resort to other things in your life to numb that pain or to find yourself. And in that, I found smoking weed. In that, I found partying. And that kind of took over from there, 2013 on. There's no reason other than exactly what my behavior was 2013 on why 2014 and 15 in Cleveland didn't work out. There's no secret that I was doing the same thing on a Thursday night in Cleveland that I had been doing for the Thursday night in College Station. Number one, because I'm the backup. I just got handed all this money and I'm not taking it seriously enough because I don't know how to be a professional. I had no idea. Now I get thrown into this organization with a head coach that wants nothing to do with me from the day that I get there.
Who was the Browns coach at the time when he got drafted?
Day one, they're running 6 DBs on the field in practice. I can't even point a fucking on why 2014 and 15 in Cleveland didn't work out. There's no secret that I was doing the same thing on a Thursday night in Cleveland that I had been doing for the Thursday night in College Station. Number one, because I'm the backup. I just got handed all this money and I'm not taking it seriously enough because I don't know how to be a professional. I had no idea. Now I get thrown into this organization with a head coach that wants nothing to do with me from the day that I get there. With the defensive staff that our first day of offensive install, day one, they're running 6 DBs on the field in practice. I can't even point a fucking mic. I ain't never taken a snap under center. But Jimmy O'Neal or whatever and Mike Pettin are gonna come out to the field and throw fucking 8 DBs on the field the first day of an install? Talk about your confidence getting busted quick. Now I feel like I can't do what I was great at in Cleveland. And I'm partying and doing what I thought made me great. So you see how all these things are compounding together to equal a huge disaster.
You didn't feel you could do in Cleveland what you had been great at Texas A&M?
Not at all. I had no confidence.
I hear you mention, you said on Tuesday night we had this with the baseball team. Thursday night we did this with the other boys. I ain't heard nothing about no school.
I was a good student.
How?
How what?
You partied the whole...
My dad, when I was in high school and middle school growing up, if I didn't have A's or B's on my report card, and that first little 6-week grading period comes out, or the 3-week mark, if I got a C on that thing, I'm grounded until I can get an A and B on that next report card.
Right.
That was my rules forever. So if I got a C, you're grounded. If you ain't going nowhere, you're doing chores around the house, I'm gonna show you what your education is gonna mean to you. So when I got to A&M, I went from a business major, sports management, and then when I went to Heisman, I go to ag leadership and development. That's a little bit different than the Mays Business School.
Yeah.
So now I can do my classes online. I can do it. The school was never the problem for me.
Right.
If I applied myself in the slightest bit, I was smart enough to be able to go in and do college. I wasn't one of those guys that needed the study hall or the this and that. And I had a lady that was in our athletic department named Lee Hood. Mm-hmm. And Miss Hood saved my life academically. just keeping me focused on what it was and not getting too far. And she was like a true mother to me in that football program, and she is the reason that I was able to even leave Texas A&M and have an opportunity to go to the NFL.
And the thing is, Johnny, though, what I've learned is that most good athletes, great athletes, can compartmentalize. And it seems like you were really great at compartmentalizing. Okay, party, I'm gonna party. Get school, party, got practice, play. You were able to do, in each instance, be at your absolute best. Or, as you said on Thursday and Friday, at your absolute worst.
Yep. And I think I was able to do that with the people that I had around me. You know, with the Lee Hood, with these coaches, and like with the right people that Texas A&M did have around.
Right.
If they weren't there, I wouldn't have had a fighting chance at all. But because of how special some of the people were in that building, it gave me an opportunity to flourish in the smallest of amounts when it comes to that stuff.
Start setting yourself up for financial success now by starting to build credit history today with Chime Security.
Honestly, it just sounds like Johnny just really needed some of the right people to be around him during his time in college. That really would have saved him.
They found oil in East Texas, and it very much was. My family was very, very big. So my grandpa, he had like 6 brothers and sisters. They hit this huge oil well. So when I'm growing up, I don't even realize that we have a farm in Tyler with a runway and a hangar in the back and all this stuff. I didn't even really know what it was. My grandpa, because of what my great grandpa had done, they had the opportunity to be boys, right? Take the planes. They were big into boxing. So like Jack Dempsey was a huge family friend of theirs. They tell me stories about going on these hunts with Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio and all these guys. And I've seen the pictures. It's as real as it gets. So you have this what you saw from me and the lifestyle that I was living, I think was minorly ingrained in me for what I saw as a kid and what they were doing in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
So it wasn't a far reach for you to
So the partying is just genetic, pretty much. That's what he's saying.
To have what you have because your family did have money. So it wasn't a stretch for you to be flying private and doing all that stuff because your family came from money. So you could pass it off. My dad gave me this or my family gave me this. And so the incident wouldn't even bat an eye.
How could they prove it?
They couldn't because you had. Hold on. Your dad said in 2013, he said, it's not Garth Brooks money, but it's a lot of money.
And I don't even know the full detail of it, right? I got, from 18 years old, I'm thrust onto the spotlight. Now I have my own life that I'm living that's separate from that family stuff. It's not as cohesive anymore, right? The fame and everything that comes with what happened to me will break a family apart very, very quick. Mm-hmm. Who we going to the game with, who gets these tickets. It's all about the clout and on all this stuff. So we as a family were tested and tried throughout this rise as well. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just a me thing. And that's what I didn't realize until I got cut in Cleveland. And I was a couple years removed from that. And I remember thinking and hearing from my mom, you don't know how hard it is for us to walk into a restaurant in East Texas. We're dealing with the ramifications of your actions that are going on every day. So when you're going out here acting like an asshole, I got to walk into my grocery store and get treated like one. And why is that fair to your father and I? And it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Damn.
Is that where the change came?
Damn. I never even thought of it like that. That's a W mother, W parents for having that sit down talk with him to kind of change his perspective. That's crazy.
Because you saw the toll, not only with, I don't know, maybe you're the last person to see the toll that is taken on you, but when you hear your mom tell you the toll that is taken on them because of your actions, and they shouldn't have to suffer for what you're doing to yourself.
It's a start. That was the start of it. Okay. It definitely wasn't the final thing that got me to the point of what I'm being able to do and sit here with you today. I think that's a complete understanding and self-awareness of oneself. Okay? So I, without a doubt, wholeheartedly know myself and what I've done good, what I've done bad. I'm the only one that knows the truth that I've seen through my eyes about everything. So when I got to the point where I'm completely detailed and honest about every situation and what went into it and why I may have done that, that's a continuous like evolution of a person that takes longer than 5 years, you know. And I don't think I'm a finished product right now. I just think I'm onto something mentally that is clicking with me, allowing me to be the person I think I should have been.
Is this all you, or was therapy involved?
A lot of self-therapy. I mean, a lot of times. And I mean, 2014, after my first season, I went and spent 3 months in rehab in Reading, Pennsylvania. And I didn't have a normal off season. I didn't get to I needed to work on myself. And at this time, I learned a lot through that. And continuously learned as I went on. And this is a, collection of 10 years of not therapy every day, not therapy every week, but a lot of it is with yourself. You have to know who you are. Correct. You know who you are. You know what you do good. You know what you do bad. You know what you need.
It's good, but I'm doing a YouTube video right now, so I gotta finish this. Oh, I apologize. Oh, you're good.
Need your team for over here to help you with, correct, to make you the best version of yourself. And for a long time, I've been independent in the sense that I feel like I can do it all by myself. When in reality, I need family.
You need a team.
I need friends. I need my team of people who want nothing from me, who want nothing but the best and love for me, and people that I can trust. Because a lot of time in the past, I didn't have people around me that I could trust really genuinely, truly looking out for my best interests.
Johnny, you mentioned that you partied.
He needed more people like that who were just really looking for his best interests. Like Cliff definitely seems like that type of guy who would be looking out for him.
Like to drink alcohol. Was there heavier drugs involved other than alcohol and marijuana?
Oh yeah, 100%.
In college?
No.
Once you got to the league?
Yes. That's when the real hiding and reclusing started. And man, I've given Cleveland a really, really hard time. And I think it's all more situation than it is really the city itself. Being in a fishbowl city like College Station ate me up because I couldn't move. I couldn't park my car the wrong way. I couldn't do anything. I was always spotlight.
Yeah,
and then I go to Cleveland, I sign with LeBron and Mav and them, and now LeBron comes back and I'm under LeBron's wing. So now this heat lamp's even hotter on me. I'm not playing. I don't got confidence on the field. And now I'm taking out my anger on my day-to-day interaction, my team. I'm struggling, but not letting anybody know.
Right.
So my whole gripe with Cleveland is not really anything as what I've made it to be. And I think that's just a bitterness of how things went and me not realizing that I did it to myself for a long point in time.
Do you remember the first time you tried hard drugs?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
What was it about it that made you try it? Did you think because I'm Johnny Football, I can handle this? I can do something that no one else has been able to do. Do a hard drug and be able to still function and do everything I need to do, even though I tried this.
Okay, that persona that I had on the football field of being able to have that confidence translated over into the party scene as well. I'm the guy,
right,
just like I am on the field, in the club, in the streets. So it's all in front of you if you want it and you're hanging around the wrong circles. It ain't hard to find at all.
Right.
So, you get around people who you think you look up to or this or that, and then it just goes. And then it kind of goes and it snowballs and it keeps getting worse. And you go from cocaine.
Hell ads. Bro, this is such a W podcast.
Oxycontin to Percocets to mushroom. I mean, I look at the mushrooms as a different thing now. That's not a good thing. To harder drugs, the drugs that tear you down. I never did anything with needles. Never did anything like that. But the coke and the oxys and the Percocet were very, very tumultuous in my.
He was doing coke, oxy, perks. mean, that's pretty common to be
life
honest.
and like pop their head, especially the days of wandering around the Hollywood Hills. And it makes sense why you see me so sporadic. And like, I was 210 pounds when I left Cleveland. I was 170 pounds sitting in Vegas that August, that September, October, whatever it was later in that year.
40?
How you lose 40 pounds? You're on a strict diet of blow.
Oh, I was about to say, you don't want either one of them. I mean, you lose 40 pounds in that length of time, you on crack.
Or Ozempic.
So that's the new thing now.
Bro left 170. I mean, I think that's how much I weigh now. But if you going from 210 down to 170, that's crazy.
Touche. You're right about that, bro.
And at that point in time, man, I would look in a mirror and I didn't see myself any different than when I was in Cleveland.
Really?
Until I stepped on a scale at the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Las Vegas, I didn't realize I had lost 40 pounds.
Wow.
At all. And people were hitting me up like this, and I remember these pictures came out, and I was like, damn, what am I doing? Whatever, we'll figure that out later. Let's go again.
Let's go there. So as an athlete, you're very competitive. When you
when you doing shit like that, that's when you realize you in a deep hole, bro. Like, if you can't just hone in on something that's gonna help you, you just keep on abusing whatever that shit is just to chase that high. Like, that's nah.
Do drugs. Do you still have that competitive nature? Like when you with your boys, you're like, shh, man, I ain't finna let you one up me.
You can't. I'm a tank when it comes to the party. I mean, I could party. We hang with the best of them. Like, I ain't saying that to brag. It's not something to really sit
but it's
here
the truth.
And glorify. But it's true. You put somebody that you think in your life can really go that distance with the Henny or with the drugs or whatever you want.
Hey, Johnny Manziel toe to toe with Steve Will do it. You think he's keeping up? What y'all think? I might have to give that one to Steve, bro. I ain't gonna lie, Johnny. I don't know if you can keep up with that boy Steve.
I'm gonna go 12 rounds with you.
I mean, Johnny, you a small man, bro.
I'm a little thick, I guess.
So, Drake does a song, Draft Day. What was it like to hear Drake mention you in a song? And what was it like hanging out with Drake? He's one of the biggest celebs in the world. And here's a young college kid that's hanging out with him.
Yeah, I remember when I went to Toronto for the first time and my mom called me and I could hear the worry in her voice. Where are you? Toronto? Canada? You even have a passport? I'm like, yeah, I took it from the safe last week when I came by the house. So like, my relationship with Drake is one that changed my life for the better forever, still to this day. Mm-hmm. A pillar of my life. And from the first day I met him, the first day we talked, our relationship has been pretty constant. And he rides for me as hard as anybody ever has in my life. And I'm thankful for him. I appreciate him. Mm-hmm. And, I try.
Super pause, Manziel. Super pause.
I try to let him know whenever I'm with him how much his relationship means to me, and how much our friendship means. And like, it's the coolest thing in the world to me. From that kid in Kerrville, Texas, to be able to sit there and walk out on the draft, Radio City Music Hall, and there ain't no song playing that you like. It's my song about the day that's happening now. Chills.
Right. But what do you think when people say, man, Drake cursed you? Because, there's this thing that say that Drake has a curse, that anybody that's doing well, if Drake all of a sudden likes him, they're going to lose.
Who believes in curses like that? That guy's the most positive energy, great aura. Maybe he picks wrong sometimes in the teams or whatever it is, or his bets, but that's his life, right? There is no curse. Right. That's to each his own. If I handle my business in the proper way, I make him proud. Right. Our relationship changes. There's a lot of people that I let down. And I truly feel like him and LeBron at a point in time were people that I really, really let down.
You mentioned that that LeBron
That's gotta be tough. Having that type of weight on your shoulders, letting LeBron down, letting your boy LeBron and Drake. That's gotta be some shit. props for Manziel, though, for real.
Mav, you signed with LeBron and Mav, and there are people saying Johnny Manziel will be bigger than LeBron James in Cleveland.
I think that person is Skip Bayless.
He definitely believed in you.
He did.
He believed in you, and his thing, to his credit, when he believes in a guy, yourself, Tim Tebow,
Baker. Yeah. Skip. I love you, bro. I hope you know that it was always love. And I honestly feel like I let him down, right?
Right.
I remember watching First Take religiously and being able to see him come on there and ride for me when everything was going on. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing the passion in his voice and the way he was animated when he would talk about me. So when I sign, I go to Cleveland, and this, Johnny Manziel will be bigger than LeBron. Like, okay, you got your clickbait, you got your headlines for that week type of thing, and it was never, ever going to be a reality. But because of me signing with LeBron and Mav, I had the opportunity to even be great in my own right.
Right.
They gave me the best fighting chance and built a team around me. And the thing that I realize now is the reason why they're probably still pissed at me to this day. They don't lose. They don't bet on anything that's not a sure thing. And what I did and the way I carried myself and the way that I was in my time during Cleveland was pure and blatant disrespect to them for giving me everything that I could have ever needed to be successful. So something that still to this day, I think now that we're talking about it, I haven't completely, truly got over yet, how I let them down. And I remember, this is how bad off I was whenever I was in Cleveland. LeBron would text me every week to come over to the house and watch a game or play poker with the boys and just tried to be there. And I was so depressed for the first time in my life that even my biggest role model and inspiration in my life couldn't get me out of bed to come and hang out with them. Wow. When I went to the Cavs games, I was in, I was out. I didn't really grasp and latch on to him.
Bro, if LeBron is texting your phone to get out of bed and come hang out with him, bro, and you still can't, that's how you know you got some demons for real. Those are some real demons, bro.
In a way that I should have. And he tries to take me under his wing, right? And I'm just kind of nudging it away because of where my mental is and being just fully depressed in where I was in my life. Is that an excuse? Absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, the respect that I should have for them, giving me everything, should trump all else.
I see you got a lot of ink. Do you remember your first, what do you remember your first tattoo, and how old were you when you got it, and what made you say, you know what, I want ink?
All right, so my mom, as a kid, if you get any tattoos, I'm gonna disown you. They went really hard down that route. And when I got to a little bit higher place in life, I'm kind of like, let me test and see if she's still gonna love me after this. So I went that first semester.
Bro, fun fact about me, I don't have not one single tab, bro. Like, bro, I ain't got no tats, bro. I ain't spend no VC. What should I spend my first tat on, bro? Like, what should it be?
In College Station, I went and got a tattoo. It said "Against all odds" on the inside of my arms, and I got a Proverbs thing on my chest. John Bones Jones has this Philippians 4:13, and I got a Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. And I got that, and I remember going to the lake house 6 months later, and my mom was like, "Why are you jumping in the lake with your shirt on?" It's nothing. Finally, she's like, "Take your shirt off." And I'm like, all right, moment of truth. She took it pretty good for what I expected, to be honest. She kind of just went back in the house, and like, now we're at the point where my dad's starting to get some tattoos, and like,
you influenced him.
I think I had a little bit of an input in that. Like, I think I've had an input in his mind shift just to see that, like, if I can go through what I've been through and still be sitting here today with the attitude and the outlook on life that I have, and I truly feel that anybody can. And my dad's had his flaws in life, my mom as well, and we all do as human beings. But like, it's about never giving up, and it's about keep going is the mantra and mindset that I use. Keep going. God only gives the toughest test in life, the people that can truly handle it. Soldiers. So like, yeah, a lot of mine was self-inflicted, but I feel to a point today that I'm here for a better purpose, for a bigger purpose. Maybe being a Hall of Fame NFL football player was not what I was meant to be in life. And I'm okay with that. Right? I'm okay with continuing to grow as a man and figure out exactly what makes me tick, what my new passions are in life, and what my new like goals are and where I want to go.
Is it true that you were about to fake a flunky drug test at the combine and your dad faked a medical emergency?
I don't remember the medical emergency, but I remember having the greatest training camp leading up to the NFL Combine. And 5-6 days before the Combine, I drove from San Diego to the Beverly Hills Hotel, and I wanted to go to Greystone Manor in West Hollywood. I got with some NFL boys, and I went to Hermosa Beach, and I got drunk, and then I went to the club. And I remember as this whole day progressed on, I was a little too lit at the club that night, about 1. And I remember, as I'm kind of like in and out of it, somebody handed me a blunt, and me really being not all there and composed. And I remember the blunt coming up right in front of my face, and I remember my immediate is like,
when is my allergy spray gonna kick in?
You need ass.
I don't know. Y'all think he's hitting the blunt? What do y'all think? I think he's gonna take a quick hit.
But I couldn't tell my agent or anybody the next day if I actually did smoke this or not. So now it's like full crisis mode. We're taking tests and we're doing this, and like now the next 6 days are like flush the system. You fail a drug test, you go from being maybe the potential first pick in the draft to we'll see you in the 3rd round, and that's a 5-year deal turned to a 4, turned to guarantee money into nothing. Like everything is riding on this. So I did go into Indy with a very, very question mark on if I was going to pass my drug test for smoking weed.
And so you
passed. I guess I didn't smoke it.
Wow. Oh, okay. So
wow, he said.
Yeah, because considering the way you've been partying, bro.
I just remember that going to grab it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that, and I remember for some reason just still locked in, even if I was out of it.
When you were coming out, there was a comparison because of your ability to dual threat, to run and throw the football. You got compared to a little bit of RG3, a little bit of Russell Wilson. Did you like those comparisons?
I like the Brett Favre comparisons the most, I think, because Brett shaped the way of what I wanted to be as a quarterback.
Right.
You know, I didn't know at the time back then, really, until I got out of Cleveland, of what Brett's story was in Atlanta.
Right.
You know, I had this Brett Favre Atlanta Falcons jersey that I wore religiously when I was in College Station, and I didn't know that he was there and like what happened and him getting to Green Bay and what a like huge turning point and pivot it was for him.
Wait, so he had an Atlanta Brett Favre jersey, but didn't know that Brett Favre played in Atlanta
in his life? But that's
what?
You know, that's the one that I liked the most and that I appreciated the most because he was the man.
Did you really text a Browns coach during the draft and say, hey, let's wreck the league?
So me and Dow Loggins, who's my quarterback coach, we had a good relationship, and he was texting me throughout the draft, like, be patient, bro, be patient, we're coming to get you. And this was a very personal conversation between me and him that he told to a friend that then got spun into what it is today. So there was no, you know, I'm still walking across the stage, doing all this, I'm doing my thing, like, I'm more excited to go to Avenue in New York and party with Drake and the boys after to celebrate than I am really thinking about football at this time. Everything to me was like getting drafted in the first and going to this party afterwards. And like, it's what it was, the cherry on top of the whole thing was what it was for me. So, you know, that was a very personal text that I sent that was internally supposed to motivate us to be and get to where we wanted to go, that then was then spun as to me being this cocky, full-headed, you know, egotistical little shit that doesn't know anything about the NFL. And I don't think that's necessarily how I was. Now you can ask Andrew Hawkins or Joe Thomas or Joe Hayden or, you know, the legends in the building that we had with us, and they would probably tell you that I was carrying myself like that. From my perspective of things, that was never my intention, nor did I want to carry myself like that. It was against everything that I was raised and ingrained to be.
Did you want to go to Cleveland? Where did you want to get drafted?
New York, what y'all think? I feel like he would want to get drafted somewhere in New York or somewhere in Cali.
Where did I want to get drafted?
Yeah.
Probably Dallas.
That
I love Jerry. I loved getting a chance to go to sporting events in that state.
It's absolutely disgusting, Johnny.
Stadium and cross in circles with him. I loved getting the opportunity as a college Texas A&M kid to walk into that box and like rub shoulders with the honcho.
I mean, he's from Texas though, so that probably makes sense. So.
Yeah.
The guy.
Yeah.
So like I love that. And 16th pick of that draft was Dallas. And I remember the anticipation in Radio City when that pick was coming up, and I had my fingers crossed under that table the entire time. Please let me go put that star on my helmet. Looking back now, thank God that it didn't happen, because I wouldn't be sitting here today.
You're saying that you wanted to go to Dallas, you were hoping Dallas draft you, but you said you're glad you didn't go to Dallas because?
I think knowing what I was doing in Cleveland, how hard it was for me to party and move and do these kind of things, if you would have put me in a landscape that was my backyard, that I knew, you know, I'd been driving from College Station up to Dallas when there wasn't nothing going on in College Station.
Right.
So it was something I was familiar with. I know who I was hanging around at that point in my life. And I think it would have been just an absolute disaster, to the point of it wouldn't have been suicide that would have been the issue. It would have been drinking and driving. It would have been taking a bag from somebody you shouldn't take it from, and just boom, could have been over in an instant. So I think I know myself well enough to be able to say that it would have been bad in its own right. And luckily, thankfully, you know, it didn't happen, even though at that time it's what I wanted.
What were your study habits like in Cleveland? How often did you study? Did you watch?
That's facts. That's W self-awareness, to be honest.
Tape? Did you study the game? When you're in meetings, were you attentive? What was Johnny's study habits, practice habits like?
I would say, you know, Kyle Shanahan was the most detailed person that I had ever seen in my life. And I thought Cliff Kingsbury was really, really good, but Shanahan took it to a different level. He could coach 11, 12 positions on the offense. Detail, hat placement, hand placement, every single thing. So our meetings and things were incredibly detailed. My quarterback room was not a home for me because of Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer had been waiting on opportunity to be able to go really
Brian Hoyer's a hating ass nigga, bro. I could just tell.
Provide for his family, get an opportunity, and he saw how much of an upper hand he had on me, and he didn't hold back when it came to that. So there was instances in the quarterback room early on where I would ask the same question a couple times, and he'd be at the head of the table and go, again? We're doing this again?
Hating ass nigga. Fuck you, Brian Hoyer. Trash ass, bald ass nigga.
Wow. Keep him out of it, right? Let's just cut that off. And I don't have a bad word to say about Brian Hoyer. That is just fact of what happened in that room. So when that happened...
So if we were to ask another quarterback that's in that room...
Go ask Connor Shaw. Go ask Connor Shaw, who played at South Carolina and was with us in Cleveland. Go ask him how Brian Hoyer was in that room. Go ask Dow Loggins how he was in that room. And it's okay. But at that point in time of where I was, and I'm the franchise guy, I could have used a little help, especially when they knew what I was doing. And I've said this before in the past, and people have said, why don't you take self-accountability for what it was and you not putting in the work? I didn't know what work like that was. I didn't know what the grind was because I was great at Texas A&M without it. So a sense of entitlement comes in that I can do it the same way because I don't know any better. So when you have that going on in the quarterback room, then I just do this. I ain't speaking. If I question something, I'm not asking. I'm embarrassed, right? I'm getting dogged by a guy who's supposed to be my teammate. When I don't know, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know what cover 3 is. You know what we did at A&M? If that linebacker's tucked in and Swope's faster than him, bang, I'm throwing the bubble and he's down the sideline. I wasn't looking at safeties. I'm not looking at 1 high, 2 high rotation. My mind didn't work that way from a football player perspective. And then when
Bro, these niggas was playing backyard football at Texas A&M, bro. Just casually walking over the best teams in the country.
going into my safe space quarterback room, I'm getting, so I'm not saying a word. Now I'm struggling. Now I'm getting behind. Now I don't know the detail of the plays because I'm not going home and dialing it in even more.
Right.
In the building, I studied film.
Okay.
I wanted to watch these Rex Grossman clips of Washington, the Shanahan. I wanted to watch RG3 2012 season. I wanted to see how you do this stuff. And I watched it. Did I grind it the way that Peyton Manning does? Absolutely not. I didn't even know that was a thing until Josh McCown got in the building the next year. And when Josh McCown came in, the shift in that room went through the roof of positivity. When I got there, he comes up to me and he goes, "You want to be a great quarterback?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Tie a string to the end of my backpack and you can follow me around wherever you want and I'll show you what it takes to really be a quarterback in the NFL." Now when that goes to the practice field and we're out there and we're dialing in these bang eights, we're throwing the comeback.
Yeah, honestly, Josh McCown is probably a good role model to paint your game after. If you're a QB, that motherfucker was in the league forever, bruh. I think he had a brother too, Luke McCown too.
McCown's sitting there like, "You can fucking do this. I can't make that throw, but you can." What do you think that does for a second-year player's confidence?
Through the roof.
Through the roof. Now our team as a whole is not the same. Our organization, in a sense, inside the building is still incredibly dysfunctional.
Wait, was this also at the same time with Josh Gordon and his whole situation too?
But for those first 10, 12 weeks of the season in 2015, we're not winning.
Mm-hmm.
No, we only win 2 games that year.
Right.
But me as a football player, I'm growing. John DeFilippo, who's our offensive coordinator, we're growing together. His energy in the room and what it is positive. And it's me, Josh McCown, and Connor Shaw again. And there is a huge shift in that quarterback room that next year. And I start to get confidence and I start to do this. And then life happens to me again to where I'm not taking care of myself.
Right.
And I'm frustrated in the building. And I'll never forget, probably about week 13 or 14 of the season, I'm walking out of Coach Pettin's office, or I'm upstairs in the where the coaches' offices are in Cleveland. And I walk by Jimmy O'Neill's office, and he's like, "Hey, Johnny, come in here for a sec." I'm like, "Oh, it's our defensive coordinator." I'm like, "What's up, Coach?" And I'm chill with everybody. I'm up. That's just how I am. And he's like, he's sitting back at his desk. Kind of got his foot up, and he goes, "We'd be a really good football player if you got your head out of your ass." And I'm so caught off guard. Now this confidence that I'm building is immediately just, now, I don't know if he meant it in a way or just you're 2-12 and your team is struggling and you're looking to ways to vent or whatever it was, but this happened. And when I left that office and I went back down to the quarterback room, I was white as a ghost. So white that Josh McCown looked at me just like you are and was like, "What happened?" And I'm stuttering through this story, and Josh McCown gets up out of his seat and walks straight up to that fucking office. Now what was said, I don't exactly know what it is, but when he came back in that room, he was pissed. He said, "You don't do that. In this league with a young guy and somebody you just don't
build him up. You can't break his confidence.
Break me in half." And from there, I was broken. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care about that team. I didn't care about what my role was. And there's no excuse. All of these things led up to be the perfect failure. And at the end of the day, it's on my shoulders. But when you're starting to get a little momentum and you get broken like that, that's when the running to Vegas happened and me missing the last game of the season. That's when the wig story comes out and when I'm really running 2-3 weeks after this. When this happened, I go straight home. I go straight to my basement. I get the biggest bottle of Hennessy out of the bottom of the drawer, and now I'm sitting in the basement. I'm listening to Future every second, every day. I'm partying by myself.
Bro's turning up to that DJ Esco and Future, bro. That shit is litty.
To try and get out of this reality of a situation that I'm living in.
That's fucked, bro. Cleveland low-key did him dirty. Cleveland is not innocent in this situation either.
With a head coach that wants nothing to do with me, with a DC who's saying if I get my head out of my ass, we'll have a chance. Just this whole perfect storm of just like, fuck this. And when that happened, I was done.
What was your relationship with Josh Gordon? You had a guy, and we know he's had his issues, his struggles, very similar to what you're sharing with us right now. What was your relationship with Josh?
Great. I saw a side of Josh that the rest of the world didn't get to see. I saw a guy that was from that trap, from that bad neighborhood growing up, who would beat the odds to be able to get there. One of the most physically talented specimens that you'll ever see on a football field. He struggled with a lot of the same things that I struggle with. And I tried my best throughout those times to be a better influence around Josh than a lot of other people were, because a lot of his boys didn't give a shit at that point in time. And, you know, should I have done things differently in our relationship to not, you know, sway him certain ways? Because I think I definitely had the juice. We didn't do drugs together.
You didn't do drugs?
We didn't do drugs together. He would, he loved the weed, man. He loved it. And when he would come over to my apartment, all he ever wanted to do was roll it and put it on the counter. He just wanted to be included on the whole thing, right? Which is the way his.
Nah, but if you knew who Josh Gordon was back then, bro, that motherfucker was him. The Flash, that's literally like the perfect name for Josh Gordon. He was dead ass built like the motherfucking Flash from the DC comic book. And he would burn corners just like that, like the Flash, just off a go route. He was supposed to be the next Calvin Johnson, to be honest.
Mine kind of worked, but he never smoked around me. He never, we went on trips together. We went to Aspen. We went everywhere. Like, JG was my dog to the core. And funny you asked, I just spoke to him yesterday, and he sounds like he's in the best place that I've seen him in years. Awesome. And it takes time and getting away from it. And for me and him, we're talking about golf now. And golf is kind of like an avenue that I never thought me and JG would be able to like talk about golf, go play. And like, golf has really shifted my mindset and being able to still continuously give me competition. But as much as it is against other people when you're playing, golf is always about yourself and battling yourself, 6 inches between your ears, and then, you know, getting in a good headspace to go up and hit a good shot.
John, I want to get you out on here. You mentioned that once you left Cleveland, that you contemplated suicide and you spent all your money. Clearly, that's the lowest point of your life. Was it a culmination of, I'm not where I thought I would be as far as in the NFL? You're in the NFL, but you're not playing, and you feel you're not getting the support that you need or deserves in order for Johnny to be Johnny, because sometimes you need somebody, just a little support. You need somebody to say, Johnny, hey bro, you can do this, pat you on the back instead of kick you in the butt all the time. When did you know? So what happened when you're contemplating taking your own life?
It's different. It's not that I don't have the support. It's not that I don't have the team, because at that point in time, I had every single person you could ever think trying to reach out. And I'm just blocking people at every single turn. And I think for me, it was something I didn't find out until I went to play in Canada again. I remember having this feeling in Cleveland that I didn't love football, okay? But it was a feeling. And when I didn't play for a while and I'm out of the league and I'm trying to get back in.
Bro, did you ever play for another team besides Cleveland? Like in the NFL? I remember he had his little Canada football stint, but I can't remember if maybe Cleveland was his only NFL team.
And I ended up going to Canada. And when I walked into that locker room for the first time and walked out on a practice football field, every single feeling that I had felt in that Cleveland locker room came back to me in that Canadian locker room. And I knew right then and there that I didn't truly, truly love this game to the point of where I need to do what I need to do to be successful. So the suicide thing comes in when you look at life and you say, I fucked up the biggest golden opportunity that you could have ever imagined. And this is where I think whenever you said what you said about the Fan Controlled Football League, it is sad, Shannon. What you said on that day is exactly right. It is sad to watch a guy who had all the potential in the world, all the opportunity, all the resources and team around him, and he still goes, fuck that. But what if I told you today that I don't think that I loved what I was doing enough to ever get into the mix of doing it the right way? I went through that period with Josh McCown where we did it, but like it never was like over the top. And I'm not in the gym, I'm not grinding, I'm not doing the things that I did back in the day that made me great. So now I realize that I didn't love the game of football like that. I just happened to be immensely talented at it. I happened to have great teammates around me, great coaches, great perfect storm to be able to get me to walk across that hall at Radio City Music Hall, walk across that stage. So that feeling came back in Canada. I realized I don't love the game. And then when the game's gone from you, there's a huge transition, and every guy will tell you what the transition is to figuring out your identity and who you are as a person. And I truly feel like from 2017 on, that's 7 years, that's what I've been doing. And my mission has been to try and stay away, get a little bit of this hype off me, and just live and find out about life. To be a great uncle, to be a great brother, to be a great son, to be a great role model for Texas A&M, to be a great alumni, a leader, to be a great resource for my guys who play at Texas A&M. And these are all things that I'm trying to do moving forward that I've completely neglected in the past.
If I could say, Johnny, you could go back, what would probably be one of the two things that you wish you could do over?
If I could go back to a certain point in time, I would drop myself right after that in the locker room of the Oklahoma game in the Cotton Bowl. Knowing what I know now, I would have known how to handle myself. I would have known how important and imperative it is to be a better teammate than just numbers on a field on Saturday. There's something to be said about how your guys ride for you when you're doing the right things in the building. Mm-hmm. And that 2013 year for us at Texas A&M, a lot of internal problems were happening because their leader is distracted. Their horse that makes this whole carriage go is fucked up. Mm. And the shame that I have for letting guys down like Cedric Aboye and Jake Matthews and Mike Evans is the same shame that I carry with me to this day about letting down Joe Thomas as a guy who's in the end of his Hall of Fame career and is looking for somebody to come in and lead this team, and then you get me. It's tough,
He couldn't have said it better myself. Shit, that is tough. And that's real, to be honest, bro. Because he had a legendary career. He was supposed to go out with a bang, but not much you can do.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have been the guy that have let down some
Hey, what up, Juju? W Stream Skis.
We're all really great athletes of my time and of my generation. Something I carry hopefully with my head high right now, but at the same time, internally, I know it eats me alive because they did more for me than I gave in return to them. Mm-hmm. And what a shallow, kind of selfish way of life that I was living at that point in time. And I have a lot of regret. I regret wasting a couple of Joe Thomas's last years in Cleveland. I regret disrespecting LeBron and not making
taking advantage of that situation.
That's making sure what it meant to me. Showing him that I give a fuck enough to just do what's right, to listen to Mav and listen to the team they built around me. It fucks me up that I messed up our second year at Texas A&M and we went 7-4 or whatever, because that was our chance to win a national title.
Had a monster game against Duke.
Had a cool game against Duke. One that was a legendary kind of tale on it, but I almost wish to this day that we lost that game because I would have came back.
Right.
So us having that legendary run against a bowl game that's kind of wish we would have lost, because then I would have came back with a vengeance. And I probably wouldn't have got drafted because I would have gotten in trouble.
Right.
But It doesn't sit right with me, certain things. And those are 3 things. How I wasted my 2013 season, how I treated the legends in that building in Cleveland, and how I treated LeBron and Mav. And, you know, from there, I can even take it a step further and say in 2016, I don't think I treated Drake the way that I should have with representing the clothes that I was wearing and his OVO brand and his label and everything. You know, at that point in time, I was so selfish that I was dragging everybody that was tied to me through the mud. Now, it's regret. I'm not harboring on this in any kind of way. I'm just calling it exactly what it is in the way that I feel about it. And, you know, I owe those people an apology. And hopefully one day down the line, I'll be able to have the opportunity as a man to be able to look them in the eye and be able to do that.
I understand. This is my last question for you. I understand what that win in Tuscaloosa did for your career. But it seems to me it was that win against Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl that really changed it for you.
You know, they're coming down from
Juju.
Norman. We're coming up from College Station. It's a clash in the biggest stadium in the state of Texas. The spectacle for us in Texas, this is the granddaddy of them all. Not what goes on out in the Rose Bowl out west. For a Texas kid, for a Kyler Murray, for these guys we were talking about to play in that stadium and do what we did that day was like, you can't tell me shit from there on out. And what a shallow mindset to have, what a selfish mindset to have. But being a Texas kid is almost feeling like one of those real big dreams and pillars of your life has been accomplished. And I didn't treat people the right way after that, and it's unfortunate.
As we sit here today, how is Johnny Manziel doing?
Probably the happiest I've ever been in my life. And I think I went through a period of time after the documentary came out where I maybe acted a little bit like I did in the past, and it's easy to let ego and fame and stuff kind of creep back in. And what I've done now since really, you know, December-ish, you know, it's new, 3 months, but I've insulated myself in a way with a team that I can trust, people that I love, that are doing nothing but looking out for my best wishes, best regards. They know me. They're not letting me cheat. They're holding me accountable. And it's not going to happen overnight. It is going to be a slow, gradual process to get to who I want to be as a man. But in my opinion, sitting here today with you, enjoying the hell out of this conversation, I feel like I'm on the right path to where I need to go. And as Johnny Manziel, not as Johnny Football.
You were once married, and this is the last one. You were once married. Could you see yourself being married again, or is there someone in Johnny Manziel's life that's keeping Johnny grounded?
Nope. It is my friends right now, my family. You know, it is my 2 nieces with a third.
Yeah, Johnny honestly doesn't strike me as like a family guy like that type-ish, to be honest. Definitely just a, you know, friends and fam type guy for sure.
One on the way that I talk to every single day on FaceTime that are really my reason why I'm still here.
Right.
And a huge reason of my success is based off my sister and my mother and my father and my true core friends and my team I have around me. So love will come when it comes, but for right now, I'm focused on getting a bag, taking care of my money, getting back to where I need to be,
Right.
being the best brother, being the best uncle, and being there for my family and my university in a way I need to be to make people proud that I want to make proud. I don't want to continuously keep letting people down when I feel like I'm destined for bigger, greater things than that in life.
I am so proud that you're sitting here today and you found your reason to live. Johnny Manziel, ladies and gentlemen.
All my life, been grinding all my life.
Shit, that was a W podcast for Club Shay Shay, Big Unk. What did y'all think about that one? I honestly, personally think the Cleveland Browns as an organization could have helped develop Johnny Manziel maybe a little bit better, maybe change his perspective on the game. But I mean, he kind of just described it to us when he was with A&M. It was like backyard football. Cleveland done. Cleveland is cooked, I ain't gonna lie. Cleveland, you said just an L franchise? Yeah, but Cleveland definitely kind of did Manziel a little dirty, but you said I'm coming right now? I know. I'm doing an outro for YouTube right now. Tempe Town. Alright, make sure to leave a like on this video for your boy. Subscribe to my channel. Drop down in the comments and let me know if y'all are fucking with these podcasts and shit. I'm smile if you like dick. Shut up, bro. I'm fucking with these podcasts. Make sure to drop down in the comments and let me know if you all are too. Thanks for fucking with your boy on YouTube, Bobby G, Bob Reacts. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.